the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we will do our roll call, then the Planning Commission Chair will bring their meeting to order and then do their roll call. So if you would, Ms. Starnes.
Mr. Jeter, District 1.
Here.
Mr. Tipton, District 2.
Here.
Mr. Herron, District 3.
Here.
Mr. Brickey, District 4.
Here.
Mr. Mann, District 5.
Here.
Ms. Hood, District 6. Here. Ms. Addington at large. Here.
Thank you, ma'am. Everyone is present. So if you would, Mr. Baker, you can do your thing.
I'll call this July 6th meeting of the Scott County Planning Commission Board. And ask Ms. Starnes if she would do a roll call for the Planning Commission, please.
Mr. Baker.
Here.
Mr. Broadwater. Mr. Bullock.
Here.
Mr. Compton.
Here.
Mr. Shoemaker. Mr. C.
Here.
Ms. Snodgrass. Here.
All right, thank you, ma'am. The next item was to approve the agenda that we have. So I need a motion to approve the agenda. Is there any amendments to that, Ms. Starnes?
I have none.
Okay. Need a motion to approve the agenda as presented to you, and Mr. Baker, you do the same when we do ours. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Mr. Tipton made a, Mr. Jeter made a motion, and Mr. Tipton second. Any discussion? All in favor, vote saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Mr. Baker.
All right. And we'll also ask for a motion to approve the agenda presented to us.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda presented. I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay. One thing to make note that our county attorney is with us by Zoom. She's on the computer with us. Can she hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sally. Glad you're with us.
Thank you.
It's a good way to spend your vacation, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Next item is to approve our minutes. We have 3 different groups to approve, so we'll do them separately. We need a motion to approve the minutes from May the 16th, 2022. Do we have a motion?
May 26th.
May 26th, sorry.
I'll make that
2022.
motion, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Mr. Brickey made a motion on the first one. Do we have a second?
I'll
Do we have a second? You second it? Mr. Tipton second. All in favor, vote saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. The next one is June 1st, 2022. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Mr. Jeter made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Addington second. Any discussion? All in favor, vote saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next one is June the 15th. Approve the minutes. Do we have a motion to do that one?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Herr made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Brickey second. Any discussion? All in favor, vote saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion
I
carried.
think I abstained. I don't think I was here for that part.
The 15th you were.
Okay.
The one last week is when you.
Oh, okay.
That'll be on the next one.
All right.
Rodney, you want to do the same with your minutes?
We'll do those at their next meeting.
Okay, all right, do that. All righty, moving right along. Next item is citizen expression period, and I'll read this short statement, then you come to the podium to speak, and I'll read this, and then we'll go into our citizen expression period. The citizen expression period is upon the meeting when anyone who wishes to address the board or staff may do so. Now, this is for the Board of Supervisors. If you want to come and address us on anything, and then Planning Commission will do you. Do y'all do the same thing, Rodney?
We do at our regular meetings, but
Okay.
I'm not sure whether we would on just.
We'll just do it all together.
I'll put it all together. If anybody wants to speak, they can to the Planning Commission or to the Board of Supervisors. All right. If you wish to speak, please come to the podium and state your name, where you're from in the county, or what organization you represent. The board may or may not respond to anything you say, but we'll take everything you say into account when making future decisions. Please keep your comments concise and business-like. If no one has signed up to speak, has anyone signed up, Ms. Starnes?
No, they have not.
We have no particular order. We just ask that you take turns and speak your business. Any action will be considered after we close citizen expression period. So with that, we are in citizen expression period. If anyone wants to come speak, you may do so. Good morning.
Morning, y'all. We're back.
You're back. It's always good to see you.
Well, it's good to see y'all too. Some of our favorite people. I'm Margaret Minton, as y'all know. I'm here concerning the Black Gum Water Project. This is Wanda, my sister, Wanda Rogers, and Fred Bose. And we're not here to point fingers at anybody, not here to throw a fit. We just want to make everybody aware that it's been nearly 2 years and 8 months since our wells went dry. We've had that longer struggle. We feel like we're back to point one of having no idea what's going on. I've come to the point where the man that told us that it'd be 10 years before we had water on Cliff Mountain, and I got mad about it, I'm starting to think he knew what he was talking about. You know, I know everybody has a struggle, and everybody's struggle is real. When I was a kid and had to carry water, it was a struggle, but we had a spring to carry from. We had nothing up there. It's, you know, it's just, it's a roller coaster for us.
So go ahead. It's been, like she said, 950 days today since our wells went dry. If it hadn't been for the fire department at Ballfield, we would have had to have left months ago. We depend on them, we depend on the rain. If it wasn't for that, we'd have none in what we carry or buy. And the thing is, we can't get any answers now. We call in Wisco and it's, well, we've called Crossroads. They can't get anything back from the company that has this control board that is what they say they're waiting on is the only piece. You know, if you can't get an answer from one company, go somewhere else. I mean, it can't be the only company in the world that makes this control panel. Right. And I mean, I realize it's been several months and they think maybe they're getting closer to the front of the line, but how do they know if they're not getting any answers? So, you know, we're here today to say, can you all help us get some answers as to when we might get water? I mean, if something doesn't change, we're going to have to leave that mountain. We can't continue with this. I mean, you know, you come in from work of the day and you want, is there water to take a shower today? You know, it's frustrating. To say the least, it's frustrating. So, you know, and we appreciate everything you all done. I mean, don't get us wrong. And we appreciate the fire department. But, you know, we're back to square one. When are we going to get water? Are we going to get water? I mean, the lines are in, the bladders are in. I was told a month ago by Luna Wisco that the meters and the pump station would be put in within the week. It's not there.
Ms. Crockett told me yesterday that she thought the meters in the pump station were already installed, and they're not. And I asked her why they couldn't be and have everything ready if they ever get the part that they need. And she said she'd check into it, and that was it.
And that's what
That's all we ever get is, I'll do this.
I'll send an email or I'll make a phone call, and then we get nothing unless we call back, and then it's the same thing. Well, I send an email, I'll check into it and let you know, and we get nothing.
Yeah, we appreciate everything. And y'all put us under an emergency situation, and that's the best thing that happened. They came in, they done excellent work. All the contractors have done everything they're supposed to do. You got to people's houses, you got everything ready. But it comes down to one part, you know, and I'm just wondering if they got this one part, or if somebody else somewhere else would have this one part, and if you do get that part, can you swap back with it? You know, since it is an emergency situation. You know, I don't think any of that has changed. You know, it's great and everything. Everything is right there. It's just, like I say, one part, and we have water in the house. And that's what we're basically here for. See if there's any way y'all can help us do that.
And what's happened with this was promised in April, I think, of 22. I thought was way down the road, you know, what y'all were promised. We usually address this after we close this expression. We go ahead and talk while you're here. And from what I know, and maybe y'all on the PSA board know more than I do about it, it's a parts issue thing, and it's nationwide. I mean, even automobiles not being made now because of a computer chip. Who would have ever thought? But it's a parts issue, and I have a family member who works for heating and cooling. He said they're running into issues now. They got people their heat pumps are broke down. They can't get parts. So I don't know where this is going in this country, where we're going, where you cannot get stuff bought. You may have the money to buy it, but just the parts are not available. So I don't know, but y'all know y'all been really pushed on this. And so I don't know, Lynn Wisco, how much they have to do with it as far as getting the parts and stuff, or how they can find it someplace else. The contractor should be on top of it, you would think, and know where to get this stuff. So I hate y'all going through it. I thought April was way down the road. Here it is in July, and it's still not done.
Right.
And no end in sight of it. I mean, you know, and I don't know what their policies and procedures are, but, you know, is there another locality somewhere in the state that would
I don't
have
know.
this part that they could buy it off of and then replace it when it comes or something? I mean, you know, have they checked into that? Can they check into that?
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
You know, this may not seem like such a big deal to some people, but 2 years and 8 months, wondering from day to day if you're gonna have enough water to cook your meal or, you know, even with gas prices the way they are now, and we have to haul water. Fred's wore his truck out hauling water. We haul all the water that we use to drink and cook. The fire department brings the water that we use for our toilets and showers. And we have rain tanks that we catch rainwater in and wash our clothes with a wringer washer, which is
I was impressed with that when I went.
But you know, water is an essential thing. You can't live without it, and it's just, you know, it's amazing that we live in a country where we can have it.
Well, usually the funding is a problem, which that was taken care of. That's not the problem. We got the money, just don't have the parts not available to do it. But I'll get with Dwayne on that, and you know,
We got a meeting next week.
Okay.
Tuesday. We got a meeting Tuesday, the PSA board, and we'll check into it then, but the last he told us is they can't get meters, they can't get the parts, they can't get pipe, they can't, I don't know what.
I was told a month ago by Ms. Crockett, the meters are here, and we have all the parts for the pump station. They were putting that together the following week, the pump station parts. She said, and by the first of the week, everything will be in place. Meters and everything will be installed, and then when we get that part, they'll put it in, and then the health department will do their testing on it, and y'all will be able to use the water.
Well, as your supervisor, it is really an issue with me, for you all, and also for our fire department. Because I talk with you all, I talk with Lynn Wisco on a regular basis. The last I heard is they like a couple parts for the control panel. And, you know, to get product, you have to have manufacturer, you have to have laborers, and you have to have logistics. And with computer type products, I mean, that's a problem because a lot of those products were used for ventilators during COVID. So I think that's one problem with this situation, is COVID caused a problem. Had we not had the pandemic, you would probably already have water. That's my personal feeling. And I think now, you know, if we can get the parts, and I'm like you, I think somewhere in the world there are, so our distributor needs to find out if there is a place where they can get the 2 or 3 parts they need for a control panel. And you all know, you were there the day that I met with the engineers, and I told them, and procurement is my area of expertise. So, I mean, I think there's probably a way to get them, but it's just getting the right people to do it. And that's another problem, is laborers. Companies have hired a lot of new employees. They don't know how to do the jobs, and so it's just a bad situation, all 3 of your components of getting product. But I do all I can, and I hope you all know that, and I try to help out our fire department too.
Yeah.
We know that you do. We appreciate all you people. I feel like you've done what you said you was gonna do. I don't have a problem with y'all at all.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't.
You and the fire department has kept us going, and now it's to the point where the fire department says they don't know
PSA, if they meet, hopefully it'll be done before next week, Darrell, but if you're all meeting in Tuesday, and so you may want to come then. I know you're working, so you come and maybe get them straight from them as to exactly what's going on. I hate this is going on. Listen, my power went on 5 o'clock yesterday, no power this morning. 12 hours without water. I did have enough to get a shower last night, and that was it, so we're 12 hours without water, it's a pain, so here you are been 2.5 years without water.
Yeah.
So, well, let's see what we can do. We'll try to get through it. I thank you all for coming, and we did.
Yes, they'll
Thank
meet
you very much.
Tuesday at 9 o'clock, right here.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Good morning.
Good morning.
For the record, state your name, please.
Thank you for having us. My name is Sharon Nelson.
And I'm Tommy Osborne, Sharon's my wife.
And we're here because we love our country and we love the state of Virginia. Tommy goes back, his family goes back to the Revolutionary War in Dungannon, is where his family is from. My family immigrated from Germany right after World War II. So we're kind of opposite on liberty and governance and things here in this country. We are here because what we just heard here, and there's many, many more stories, is how can we work with what we have, which is our Constitution, to have a change in how we are being governed on a federal level. We have done a lot of research and we have seen that the federal government is not following our form of constitutional republic by following the Constitution. And so watching what has been happening and seeing the trajectory now for decades and how we're slowly but surely being victims or being under overreach of the federal government and slowly losing our liberties and our freedoms, we went on a search to see if there was any organization out there that held the same beliefs that we did and that were actually doing something versus just talking about it. And what we found was an organization called the Convention of States. And as a result of praying about it for a good year, because this would be a commitment, I signed up as district captain for District 1 here in Scott County. And what that means is that they have a proposal, it's called the Convention of States Project, whereby in our Constitution, in Article 5, our founding fathers gave Congress the ability to make amendments to the Constitution. And not many were made because it is so hard to do. It's the process of proposing the bill, and then it needs to go to each of the House and the Senate, and needs to be approved by the simple majority. Then it needs to come back to states to be ratified, and so it's not an easy process on purpose. But also in Article 5, it gives us, the people, along with the state, the ability to propose amendments to the Constitution. And that is what the Convention of States is all about. We have been working for 13 years to have call a Convention of States. That's what it's called. So what happens is there has to be an agenda that is approved by each state separately. Right now we have 19 states that have approved this agenda. There are 3 amendments that we're looking to have. Term limits, this is all on the federal government. Term limits on the federal officials. Another is a balanced federal budget, and as you know, we tried to do this before in the 1986, I believe, and it didn't go through. Look where we are now. And the third is to limit the overreach of the federal government into our lives. 19 states have approved this agenda. We need 34 to call a Convention of States. And then, at that point, all 50 states go to this convention of states, and they hammer out the wording for each of those amendments. Then it goes through the same process. It has to go back to the states, be ratified, and so again, it's not an easy process on purpose. But this is legal, this is a nonviolent way, this is our right, and a way that we can put our federal government back in the box that our founding fathers put for them. So what this means for us on a state level, it brings the power back to the state so we can self-govern on a state level. So we are a constitutional republic. We, the state of Virginia, is different than Wisconsin, than Pennsylvania, than California. We can now bring back what is best for our state. That is the power of this. It's a grassroots movement. It's nonpartisan. It has nothing to do with Republican, Democrat. It has to do with being a patriot and a citizen of America, of the United States of America. And so what we are asking here is for us to be, Tommy and I, to be put on your agenda to actually give you more information about what this all is and answer questions, because your support is so important. When they see leaders like you support this project, then other people will also be influenced by that. Our work is to create an army of grassroots volunteers that are ready at a moment's notice to assist any other state with moving forward to bringing our power back to our states. It is an amazing thing. And I just want to say one thing in closing, and then if you have questions. Something monumental happened on June the 30th, 2022. Our Supreme Court has been going amazingly crazy, haven't they? They've come back to looking at the Constitution for our laws on how to govern ourselves. There was a case, West Virginia versus the EPA, and the Supreme Court said, you must now take these laws back to the lower court. And the impact, I'm so excited, praise God. I'm so excited on this movement. It changes everything. What they did was they shifted how we've been governed for the past 100 years. We have been an administrative state. Every agency has been out there, bureaucrats, unelected bureaucrats, have been making laws that we have to live by. And I'm going to correct a word I just said. They are not laws, they are rules. They have not gone through the process of what our Constitution says, which is what Convention of States is doing with this, where you have to propose a bill, and it has to go through the process, and it has to be approved and ratified before it can go into law. Every agency out there has been unconstitutional and illegal for the past 100 years, and they just overturned it. And nobody knows about this. I recommend that everybody go, this is epic times, but if you do an internet search on West Virginia versus the EPA and start digging into it, it gives me the shivers, because we have made a huge shift. Now they have to go through the same process to get a rule put into law. This changes everything, everything.
Wow.
Does anybody have any questions at all?
I don't have any questions, I just have a comment. I thank you for your comments. I've been following the COS for quite a few years myself, so it is legal, it is a right, and appreciate y'all coming to share that with us today.
Thank you. We are active here in our district. I'm also in District 3 and 4 working to build a volunteer team. We're activists, and we are helping people to know about this. There's so many people who don't know about Article 5, who don't even know our Constitution. There's many legislators who have not even read our Constitution. They don't even teach it at the law schools. We are under attack, but we have a way. So may I approach the bench?
Sure.
I left some things for
Most certainly
you.
can.
But in closing, what I'm asking for you to consider is if we could have 30 minutes, 45 would be awesome, but I'll take 30 to make a presentation on what this is about, so you have a full understanding about the Convention of States and what they are trying to do, and who's involved, and any questions. That is our.
Would you want to be on the August agenda, is that what you were saying?
Yes, if
Or, I mean,
possible.
you pick up whatever month you might want, and so if you want to do it in August, you can. It would be an issue to y'all being on the agenda. We can do this.
Wonderful, thank you so much.
We can do that, and well presented. And talking to y'all during the 4th of July festivities over there, I was really anxious to hear what you had to say. We talked some there about this, so anyway, when I invited you to come, I'm glad you're here.
Yes, we're honored.
For the opportunity.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Great job.
Anyone else wishing to speak? You may address the planning commission or us either one, so.
Well, I'm gonna talk to y'all. Mike Patowski, Nicholasville, Virginia. I just want to thank you all for considering and putting me on the Board of Equalization. It's an honor to serve the people of Scott County. I continue to look forward to do that. Again, thank you everybody for your consideration and everything else. This is an awesome board. You actually care about the people of Scott County. And that is so rare these days, where a government body actually cares for the people that they serve. I want to thank each and every one of you for your service and everything you've done and continue to do. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Richard Gillenwater. I live at 605 Ballfield Road in the Midway community. And let me say, anything that we can come to you with today is not as important as what the ladies who had no water. So do what you can. I want to give you a little of my background, not to be boastful or anything like that, but let you know where I'm coming from. I was born and raised in Gate City. I went to Gate City High School. Some say I graduated right out after the earth cooled. It's been so long.
It's been a while.
I played basketball with Roger Wolf. I remember he was here one time.
Yeah.
I went to Virginia Tech, got a degree in civil engineering, and my career has been in civil engineering. I retired from Holston Defense Corporation 30-some years ago. During that career, I was responsible for civil engineering at Tennessee Eastman. When I retired from Holston, I was responsible for manufacturing services, which included all the services to support manufacturing. And I don't say this in a boastful manner, but just to let you know, I know what it is to have to deal with budgets. I know what it is to have to deal with maintenance plans. I know that in maintenance plans, some organizations' stuff is more important to them than we had to think was important for the company. And you face that too, as a group. Each of you are elected for a district, and you get a lot of pressure from the people in your district to support your district. I understand that. But you also, I think, have a responsibility for Scott County. And you may have to take your hat off your district roles and say, are we really doing what's best for Scott County? I understand that's a tough thing to do. I have found in my dealing with maintenance, and we had a team, that one thing that was important was the concept of equity. If you did not do things that was equal with all the organizations, there would be a festering sore within your company that eventually did not serve the company well. So with that in mind, I will tell you why the Midway community feels we have been not treated equitably by Scott County. And some of it, I'm sure you weren't on the board when it started. But we got a landfill in Scott County many years ago. And like most communities, it was a NIMBA thing, not in my backyard, you know. Because water is so important in communities. And most of the time in our community at that time, and I didn't live there at that time, but my wife did, and her parents did. My family's from the Midway community. I know how they felt. There weren't that many wells. A lot of people used cisterns. They would haul water from Copper Creek and Red Springs to Plainter Tobacco. So it's extremely important. And they were concerned about a landfill naturally contaminating whatever water they had. But in the best interest of Scott County, the landfill was put in our area. And with that comes every trash truck in the county through Midway going to that landfill. And you're saying, well, you don't have a landfill now. That's great. It was closed. It was closed. But we ended up with a transfer station where now every trash truck in Scott County comes through Midway, goes to that transfer station. And in addition, we now get on a weekly basis several tractor trailer loads or empties coming to it, and they get loaded when they come out. And I think they take it perhaps to Hawkins County, I'm not sure where. And Midway Road itself is a decent road, but it's certainly not capable of handling tractor trailers around the curves and over the hills. And we have learned to live with that. We know where they might be. We stop and wait and make sure one's not coming. If we meet them, we stop. And if possible, if they mow the grass, which they have recently, we get out of the road. And but we've learned to live with that. Now, Midway community is not the community it was when I was growing up. We have retired, I have with me today a retired electrical engineer from Appalachian Power. I have a gentleman who worked at Eastman for years. And the county doctor even lives in our community. I don't know what you call him, a mortician or whatever he does. We are a wonderful community. We're a God-fearing community, and we just don't think we have been treated equitably. So, with that said, we are here today to talk to you about two roads, because let me back up. Other than getting the landfill and the transfer station, we have got nothing in Scott County. There's been no road paid in the Midway community. Talking to some of the other people who lived there said in 30 years, we don't know if anything's been done. So we got two roads. One of them is Ballfield Road, and one of them is Hale Springs Road. They connect with each other. They come off of Midway Road and go back into Midway Road. They're on a loop. Miss Addington, I know knows very well where they are.
Yeah.
Mother-in-law lives there.
Mm-hmm.
And on both these roads, particularly Ballfield Road, I know three men, and now my wife had passed away about a year ago, who spent their life trying to get that road on a 6-year plan. Never could get it on a 6-year plan. I think the same thing with Hale Springs Road. Never could get it on a 6-year plan. I'm not here to ask you to put it on a 6-year plan. If you put it on a 6-year plan, we won't live long enough to see something done to our road. Ballfield Road is a partially paved road. That's another one in Scott County where they paved for about a quarter of a mile and turned into the state, and the state thinks the whole road's been paved. There's many of them like that in Scott County. But this road is 0.8 of a mile long, got 7 houses, 3 hills. And you should see those hills today. after that rain yesterday. That road is not maintainable. You could park a road grader there all the time and load the gravels and scrape it, and when it rains, that gravel's down in the hay fields or in the ditches. You cannot maintain that road with those hills. Hale Springs Road is the same way. It's got one really bad hill, again, not Miss Addington's mother-in-law's, but it washes out. So, and Hale Springs Road is another 8/10 of a mile, and it has 12 houses and 2 hills on it. Now, the hills are the real problem. You know, if they do anything and you want to do something to the hills, but we're not here to ask that either. The Hale Springs Road would require minimum work to get it ready to pave. Ballfield would require a little more work. But I'm aware of some roads in Scott County that are being paved right now. For example, I know of one, Mr. Man, in your area. It's 1.8 mile long, has one hill, it's a dead end, has 5 houses on it. And they've had to do a lot of work to get that road ready before they put pavement on it. So what we're here today to ask is that you take these 2 roads and put it at the top of the list for Scott County to have those roads paved. Don't put it on the 6-year plan. Put it on the plan that they're going to be paid this year, or at best at the latest next year. Now, I know as individual representatives, you're sitting here saying, how in the dickens will I explain that to my district? Because they're wanting their roads paved. Well, I would simply say to you, ask them if they would like to have every trash truck in the county coming through their area. Those with the big horns that stick out like a Texas steer, you know, and you don't know if you're meeting them on top of a hill or on the curb or whatever. And they're probably going to say, no, we don't want that, but you've taken care of our waste. What's your problem? So I know it's a tough decision, but I ask you, and I've heard each of you be asked by Mr. Mann, why do you serve as a supervisor? And almost to the person you said, to serve the people of Scott County. You did not say to serve the people of District 1, at-large, District 2, District 3. You said serve the people of Scott County. So we're asking you to serve the people of Scott County, put our roads, do something for Midway, and nothing has been done for Midway. We feel that we pay, as everybody, we pay a lot of taxes. They're going to go up again. We understand that. But we just haven't had anything done for us. And I've talked with VDOT. I have I had a letter. Here it is. One of the typical VDOT response, and I told the people from VDOT here today, although I didn't see the ones I knew. I have an essential tremor, so it's not that my nerves, I just shake normally.
You're okay.
This lady sent a request in, and she happens to live on the part of Ballfield Road that is paved. And she asked simply that you come and fill the holes that's come in that pavement. It was on April 1st. And she gets this request, this thing from VDOT, and says, your request has been resolved. If you've got any more problems, contact us. They never did anything to fix the road. That's typically what we get from VDOT. And I know you've got trouble with VDOT. You can't tell VDOT what to do. But you are our representatives, and I think if you made a decision that you're willing to stand what I think would be best for the county, to show equity among places, that it would go a long way in helping VDOT do it. They talk about money, but you know, where does money go with all this infrastructure money that supposedly the federal government has given us? And those we live in a commonwealth. To me, that means the wealth of our state is for the people. not just for Northern Virginia or Eastern Virginia or wherever. So I don't really buy that. I don't have much, they say I don't have people to do it. I've got machinery to clean ditches out, but I don't have anybody to operate it. You can find excuses to keep you from doing anything. To stand up and find a way to do it takes a little guts and a little fortitude. So with that, I will quit elaborating, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Good presentation.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anyone else wishing to speak? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm
Yeah.
Frank Taylor, Nichols Deal. Jeremy is my representative here. We come for two things today. The Mercury, the gas prices are getting higher. We're running every day. We've got 131 funerals this year. And that keeps that van on the road.
How many did you say?
131. I booked in yesterday. We got one tomorrow. We got one Friday. I don't know about Saturday yet. And we need some help for fuel, gas, tires, stuff like this. We're getting way behind. And if we can't get what we can do, and we can got no money anymore, we'll just have to shut down and let the people, somebody else do it, or, because we serve about 7 or 8 funeral homes. And it's hard to do. Like Friday, we done 3. We was late on the last one, but they was waiting on us to go back and do that funeral. We try our best, and we try to do satisfaction to everybody. And if we got one schedule, and then somebody else wants to schedule at the same time, we can't do it. We must break the promise of this funeral to help us up. We come, first serve what we do. And we like to supply some money or something to help us out. And the second thing I'd like to have is, I drive a school bus down the boom section. And on the east side of Service Circle, I think you're the representative down there. I can't get the bus to come in. I got people to pick up right there before you get it in the middle of the Service Circle. And I got to pick him up. Well, I used to started up there and dropping over that bank. And what it was doing, it was knocking my door up. So they told me the bus driver was getting tired of fixing. Well, I started going back, but I go in the west side, and then come out the east side and pick these up over here, and then go back around, Service Circle again. That is, I think that is dangerous way of doing with children. I hauled about 52 kids last year, and I've got, I'd say about 47 or 48 on there at that time. I do this back loop. If you go around Service Circle up there on the west side, the water, it's washed out up there. And that bus, you've got to be careful. And that's all I've got. Appreciate it.
What's the name of that circle again?
Sarah.
It just needs to be built up there so I can get the bus off. We won't drop down and hit my door. That's the only thing. Then when I go around the other way and come back out and go toward Gate City, my bumper, my frame drags on the road.
Well, VDOT people are here. We'll talk to them here in a few minutes about it.
I'll look for them to get it fixed.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks for
That's
coming.
right.
Anyone else wishing to speak? On behalf of the Board of Supervisors or the Planning Commission. All right, with that, we will come out of citizen expression period, and a couple of things we'll address. Mr. Gillenwater was here talking about the Midway area, which we did submit roads to be for the 6-year plan. And was those two on it? Jeremy, do you remember?
No.
That didn't get on?
No.
And 8/10 of a mile each one of them, I think he said, and but after this rain event we had yesterday, I'm sure there's a lot of problems everywhere because it was, you drive between here and Dungannon, rocks, gravels in the road were just such an event. that we had like that, it comes so quick, and so I'm sure that all the roads right now are gonna be some TLC, but anyway, with over 200 miles of unpaved roads in the county, it's not just a few people affected. A lot of people are affected by the fact that we have so many dirt and gravel roads. Going back to the black gum thing, like I said, which I guess they left. It's a parts issue, and like we said to them, I don't know, it's a supply issue, and I don't know how you fix that. It's always been a money issue. That's not the problem. It's the fact that they cannot get the parts needed to get that done. The American Legion, what's your all thoughts on that? I know they come to, you see them all the time at military funerals and stuff. I hear they have expenses. What's your all thoughts on that?
I can tell you, as the commander of the American Legion here in Gate City, the only monies that they get is, you know, what fundraising they do, and that money goes out in scholarships to the youth in our community to help them, you know, Boy Scouts and scholarships in the schools and things like that. So these guys do a great service. You said what, 150?
131.
131?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's probably a low number, but they do a whole lot more than that, you know, with, you know, years gone by. And my thoughts just try to help them, and that's all they're asking for, is something to help with the fuel. These guys don't get anything for their services. They're volunteers, okay, and they do a great service for our veterans in our nation, in our county. So
I agree, Marshall.
They're only asking for some fuel help. That's it.
We need to do something.
I think so too. I mean, I'm for it. We need to do something. Anybody have any ideas about what you want to do? Anybody?
I should send in on the budget each year, put in for that, I guess, shouldn't it? But I mean, we can do it this year, but each year they should
Should be a
Yeah,
line
well,
item for the
they
be
budget.
on the budget.
Yeah, they wasn't thinking of that or didn't know that.
Yeah.
And
Or we can do
times-
something with our
times have
contingency
changed.
fund if you want to do something for them today to help them. And I mean, and as far as I can remember, they've never come here and asked for anything. Since I've been on this board, they have never done that. And I've been to many funerals out there, and they come and serve without any compensation whatsoever. So,
Well, I'd say we add them to our budget next year. Put them a line item in our budget.
we can do that, but in the meantime, what do you want to do?
I say let's do something in the meantime
Yeah,
next
let's
year.
do
We don't know
something
what
now.
the gas prices is gonna be. I mean, they may be back down to $1.50 or something, you never know.
Yeah.
Or 50 cents, I'd love that.
Yeah, don't hold your breath.
How much do we have?
Well, brand new.
It's brand new now.
Yeah.
July.
Yeah.
Could we compare it to Duffield Days and Weber City and Gate City, what we contribute to them for July 4th? And
I'm
just
good
as
with
a
that.
jump off place?
$1,000?
Yeah, any help that you do will be much appreciated, you know.
Well, we give-
They're and they're gonna ask the same thing in Kingsport, so $1,000 would help a long way. They travel a pretty good radius around, you know, going out and doing funerals, so, and the vans they use are not cheap on gasoline, you know, to haul them, so.
Might be
They
a little
do
bit
it,
more than
they
that.
do
I
it.
can fill up my truck
$100.
6 times and it's $1,000.
But what they do.
Those vans, I know those vans take a lot of it.
Yep, so what they do it in hot weather, they do it in cold weather, it doesn't matter. So,
Well, I mean, 1,000, and we gotta kind of go easy on her, and if they, more we can come back maybe later on, and, so.
Okay.
They'd be known with that if we want to do that. But I do think it's worthy that we do something to help them. And I mean, they come to when the schools have the Veterans Day celebration, they're there, you know, doing that with those kids and stuff. They don't just do funerals, they do other things too. They were Flag Day, they did a presentation up there. So anyway, do we have a motion to do that? I might just do that out there. Nobody's gonna say it, but you know, do we have a motion to do that, $1,000 from our contingency fund?
I'll make a motion.
All right, Mr. Jeter made a motion on $1,000 from our contingency fund. Do we have a second?
I probably need to abstain.
You
so.
probably would when we vote.
I'll second the motion now.
Okay. Ms. Acton, second. Any other discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Abstain.
And Marshall abstain. All right. All right, anything else from citizen expression? I don't think there is.
Rebecca called the vendor again this morning, and she's waiting to hear back on a delivery date on the part.
Okay.
So I'll keep you updated if I hear more.
All right, that'd be good. And I know that Lynn Wisco, they're sort of a go-between, and all they can do is what they're told. I mean, they can't make it happen any quicker than anybody else can, but at least they know who to contact. And so Rebecca does good with that. She will do the best she can to get that straightened out.
We'll try to find out Tuesday why the meters ain't. Looks like maybe they told him to put the meters in.
Have that done?
Have it
Yeah,
done.
yeah. Was it
And I know
20?
they was having to go out and rob meters once through Marshall, because they couldn't get meters.
Yeah.
I guess they said they had the meters, so I don't really ever know.
I heard, can you get vanilla wafers now? Somebody said that. I don't know if that's true or not.
That's
but
true.
You can't get vanilla wafers?
Cannot get vanilla wafers. Tried to make banana pudding the other day.
And I like banana pudding, you know, I got a problem with that. So, all right, so we'll do this for the American Legion and this thing with the black gun folks, and hopefully they'll get through that. All right, the next item we'll be doing is the joint public hearing with the Scott County Planning Commission and us. It's an amendment to the 2018 Scott County Comprehensive Plan. So with that, you want to do anything about it first? I mean, as far as do your presentation, I'm going to go into the public hearing, but you need to do it during a public hearing, or?
I can, yeah, just open the public hearing and I'll go over the
Okay, all right.
changes.
Public hearing is now open. So you do that, then if someone wants to speak, they can.
Okay, the main update for the comprehensive plan is the transportation section, and the changes that were made are on page 3, which is secondary highways. I incorporated what was adopted as the 6-year plan from this spring into that table, so that was the change. And then on page 4, the third paragraph down, in 2021, VDOT began looking at the previous study that was conducted in 2015 to determine solutions along the Weber City corridor to enhance safety. The study looks at closing many of the entrances, exits that exist along the corridor and streamlining those so that each business has a designated entrance exit. Railroad crossings are included in the study, and the possibility of closing a portion of them is being considered. The study will be used to formulate upcoming applications for smart scale. So those are the main changes that are in the transportation section that I'm requesting that we update.
Okay. I'll let our planning commission chime in now. They will approve this and be recommended to us for approval. So Rodney, if you would.
Well, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing as
Okay.
well for the planning commission so that we can take public comments. But I know several of us did go to the public meeting that VDOT had and heard people's comments and things like that on that Weber City study. I know Dan, you were there and some others. So we'll also open a public hearing and see if we have any public comment, and then we'll take action and make a recommendation.
I'm gonna close the public hearing, then that way you all can do your thing, then you'll recommend it to us. We approve or disapprove. So anyone wanting to speak during this public hearing? If not, I will close the public hearing and go, Rod, y'all can do your thing there.
Right. We'll also close our public hearing unless anyone have anything. So then I guess we will. I'll ask for first any discussion. If not, I'll ask for a motion to. Well, we need a motion to either make a recommendation to the board of supervisors to adopt these changes proposed in the comprehensive plan. So a motion to adopt these changes to the comprehensive plan. Do we have a second? We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So the board of supervisors, we have a recommendation from the planning commission to adopt these changes to the comprehensive plan.
Okay. Thanks, sir. And with that, we will take it before this board to, it's been recommended from the Planning Commission on these changes to to the county's comprehensive plan. So with that, you've seen and heard from the Planning Commission. We'll need a motion to approve the recommendation from the Planning Commission. Do we have a motion to do so?
With that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Bricky made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Jeter, second. Any discussion? All in favor, will say an aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you all, Planning Commission. We've got one more thing we've got to do, item 8. This joint public hearing with the Scott County Board of Supervisors and the Scott County Planning Commission on the possible adoption of amendments to the Scott County, Virginia zoning ordinance to review the official zoning map, to add campgrounds to Article 3, use and design standards, Section 300-100.9, commercial use types, and revise the definition of campgrounds in Article 6, definition and use types, Section 6-200.9, commercial use types. So with that, we will open this public hearing. Do anyone wish to speak? And no one wishes to speak, so we will close the public hearing and we will vote on this.
Rodney needs to leave his.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rodney.
Yeah, the Planning Commission will also open a public hearing for comments on these changes to the ordinance. So if there are any comments by the public board regarding those changes, make those this time. Hearing none, we will close our public hearing, and I guess we'll also do a recommendation as well on this change. So ask for a motion to adopt these changes to our zoning ordinance.
I'll make a motion to adopt.
So we have a motion, we have a second.
I'll say,
All right, Jack. Basher. So we have a motion and a second to adopt these changes to the zoning ordinance. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, so Board of Supervisors have a recommendation from the Planning Commission regarding this change to zoning ordinance.
All right. All right, Board, we have a recommendation from the Planning Commission on the information that you were just presented with. And so to make this, to put it in place, we'll need to adopt that as recommended from the Planning Commission. Do we have a motion to accept the recommendation from the Planning Commission? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Jeter made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Tipton, second. Any discussion? All in favor, vote saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So, all right. Thank you all, Planning Commission. You've done good with this. And by the way, appreciate what you all do. We do, and then we depend on you a lot for what you do and getting things to us. And very professional. We do appreciate your work in this. And how many years you been on it, Rodney?
20.
How many meetings you missed?
Wow. 2.
He told me that earlier.
I missed our last meeting. I said that's 2 that I've missed
in 20 years.
20 years. So
yeah.
It's and the strange thing, the one I missed previously was like 10 or 15 years, and I just forgot after all those years. The next day, I realized I didn't go to the Planning Commission last night. So it wasn't any reason I was out of town for a work meeting this last year. The previous one was a total slip my mind.
Well, you were younger then.
Things getting old, don't it?
I was younger then.
That's the excuse you want to use today, not 15 years ago.
No, I didn't have your excuse back then.
We will meet Monday at 6. We have a special use permit, and I'll get that to you probably tomorrow or Friday.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you,
All right.
Ron.
And we do appreciate you all what you do, and so thank you for serving. All righty, with that, we'll move on to item 9. Spearhead Trails folks is here, so if you come, please.
Obviously, I'm not Melissa Rose.
No,
who
you're
is
not.
the executive director. My name is Jack McClanahan, perhaps better known as Jack Mac.
Jack Mac.
For 14 years, I served as chairman of the executive committee. Now I am assistant to the executive director. First thing I'd like to do is thank and recognize Eugene McClellan for his undying dedication to spearhead and project that we've been doing. He has been so faithful and so diligent about keeping us on the straight and narrow. I appreciate him, and I go to him so much for consultation and advice. I want to bring you up to date on what has and has not happened with Spearhead and trails throughout Scott County. I go back somewhere around 2009, I kept getting these phone calls from an outfit called the Environmental Negotiation Team. What it was. Finally, I met them. That is an environmental law graduate school out of Charlottesville. And they wanted to help us. Oh, I said, I don't think we've got any environment that needs to be negotiated, for we're working primarily in the areas of mine lands, large boundaries of lands, where there's logging and gas, and coal extraction. You get down here in Scott County, biggest landowner is that of the National Forest, broken up. I said at this time we don't have any intent of working on ATV trails in that area. However, there is a lot of interest in developing along the Clinch River in Scott and Russell County. Well, that was the beginning of the Clinch River Valley Initiative, and now it's extended to the point where they've got the linear state park along the Clinch. And I'm not sure how much they have advanced into Scott County. I know that they're trying to get more access points along the river. But with us, it has been more of the land trails. There at Ricamo, however it's be said, we've been trying to find a connect from the horse park into Dungannon and on into High Knob. That seems a whole lot like trying to push a chain up a downspout. We have worked with Ricamo. The new owners are Edwards family, lovely couple. Since that it was in the ownership of the Nature Conservancy, it came with a lot of caveats, thou shalts and thou shalt nots. They do have the ability to have primitive camping, and that's about it. We were hoping to get the extension of the trail on into Dungannon. Property had been negotiated with easement crossing. Gentleman said, oh, now I want a fence in here to separate the property. Went ahead and got the nice 3-rail fence, started installing it, and he came up and said, whoa, I don't want it there, I want it over here next to the railroad. Water is about 2 foot deep, and then you can't put anything within 100 feet of the railroad right away, so we had to pull the fence out. The connect into Dungannon is on hold. We were hoping that, and this would have been my dream, if you will, be able to have the horse trails coming off of High Knob with that beautiful architecture of those early 1900 buildings, have a restaurant in there with a corral beside it. Now that, it could still happen, but there has to be an easement with the property owners. Now, the only thing that Spearhead can do to entice people or to help them out is indemnify them against any liability. We have insurance like the counties do, the towns do, through the Virginia Municipal League. And that does make it enticing to a lot of people. But you can have a dozen people in favor of that. Oh, that sounds good to me, but you get one who says, that'll negate the whole thing. We are trying desperately to get Scott County with some type of trails. Thunderstruck, that was an earlier name of the area surrounding High Knob. On 619, that's the road that crosses High Knob, connects Norton to Fort Blackmore. and the bathtub. That has been clear-cut log near the top. We worked with the property owner and put in horse trails on that. Through the direction of Department of Environmental Quality, we are working as partners with them. For we are held to the guidelines on drainage the same as if you're putting in a parking lot or a housing development. Once the erosion control fence has done its due, the grass is established, it's open. But we're working with things that they have not had any regulations for, where you have continuous bare earth, primarily to this point it's been with ATV trails. We have worked with them, and at times it had been contentious, but this is a new day, a new administration with Spearhead, and we're wanting to work with them to help establish guidelines. Now, any trails that would come about, horse trails, wherever, private property would come under the same guidelines that we work out with them, where there is continuous bare earth. I came across, I get these different emails about grants and things that are forthcoming. And I got one last week and I made some copies, and I think sent one email forwarded to Mr. Dingus. But it's to reconnect communities. Now, I don't know if this will work or not, but it would help enhance 619 if this would be a possibility to connect Fort Blackmore with Norton. For Scott County has no paved access to High Knob, and there's so much going on across through there. I understand later you got VDOT. I was talking to someone at VDOT the other day. It is maybe in the 6-year plan to pave the rest of Wise County up to the Scott County line, and perhaps on the more level portion thereof into Scott County for approximately 2 miles. It's 7 miles of unpaved road, but when you get down toward the bathtub, it's going to require a lot more than paving. That would enhance so much for so many things. For years, I have longed for a bicycle race to connect Crackers Neck in Powell Valley to Crackers Neck in Mountain City. The biggest difference is Mountain City's airport's paved. That would be a wonderful century or 100-mile bicycle race. You've got 2 monstrous mountains on either end of it, and these people love the more arduous it is, the more they like it. Now, one thing that we do have, I don't know how much benefit financially Scott County is seeing from this, but we have an event in Norton. It's called the Cloud Splitter, a 100-mile foot race that begins in downtown, goes up to the observation tower, out to Bark Camp Lake, Edith Gap, Little Stony Falls, turns around, and they do 2 of the long loops around the bathtub.
I saw it running.
That, it's amazing. The girl who won it last year ran that 100 miles in a little over 20 hours. That we usually have a aid station set up at the parking lot of the bathtub. By the way, the rescue squad that covers that area from Duffield is remarkable. They come out there. And kudos to them, bless them. They came out there, it's been 3 years ago, 1 o'clock on Sunday morning. Dark. These 2 ladies there, one was waiting on her husband to come through the aid station where they can get their chicken broth and potato soup and a drink, the rest if they want to. Oh, he's getting ready to go in for a back operation next week. He was afraid he wouldn't be able to run again. He wanted to do this. And then another one said her, I can't remember, boyfriend or husband, 2 years prior to that, but told he would never walk again. That it's amazing to me that these people, all around the clock, and that is bad enough going up the bathtub. I see all these discarded flip-flops. And they have no idea what they're getting into. But the last time I was up there, been about 6, maybe 8 weeks ago, license plate, Alaska, New Orleans, Missouri. And that was a weekday. It's one of the treasures, and it's all brought about by a bunch of guys selling t-shirts up there in North. Started out with that wood bugger. Sold about 10 or 11,000 t-shirts on that, and then they got onto the bathtub. We've known about the bathtub. Now the rest of the world apparently does. But it is, and bless y'all with the addition of the parking area. We want to work with it, whatever we can. I don't know that this reconnects grants would be applicable to this or not, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. We have laid out a thing called Back Roads of the Cumberlands. We got 3, 4 if you include Thunderstruck. Thunderstruck is primarily horse trails there on the south side of High Knob. Well, we have one called the Clinch River, the Tomahawk, and the Big Moccasin. Now these are what I call windshield tours. They're involved gravel roads, some of them are horse roads, trails. You don't need 4-wheel drive, but there are so many people that like to get out, barring all the gas issues that we have now. On a Sunday afternoon drive, or just to drive through the country, and they're afraid to go on their own, unless they end up in somebody's chicken lot or a bridge that washed out or something of that nature. So we mapped these out, and I'd like to work with, I'm going to give the maps that we have to Pam Cox, and where we could enhance and have more on those. We just received a grant for wayfinding and signage, and I want to work with Bill on where we could put up a selfie board. It'd be like, let's say Thunderstruck, put it up, sign up big enough where people could park in front of it and have their picture taken. I didn't know that was a big thing until we got with the Hatfields and McCoys ATV system. And these people come in and park underneath it, and it's like parking underneath the Yellowstone sign or something of that nature. Things that we take for granted. The trails that we've been with horses, twice we made a trip to Big South Fork. Now that is government land on the South Fork of the Cumberland River, about an hour west of, hour and a half west of Cumberland Gap. We visited one of 4 gated communities around the periphery of that trail section, all horse oriented. The lots began at $100,000 and there were $2 to $3 million homes. Now this is in Pinterest and Scott County, Tennessee, 2 coal-producing counties of Tennessee, which were as economically devastated as our area. These were palatial homes. Then we visited another place that was a homeowners association on 1,200 acres. They had 20-some miles of trails within their grounds that connected to the larger portion of trails. Could be a camper, could be a $200,000 house. But the one that I was most taken by was one of the many campgrounds. She had 70-some stables for horses. She told us that over 40% of her customers are coming from California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. I said, do you mean they're trailering these horses that far? Oh yeah, yeah. That same year, my wife and I visited the Grand Canyon and out west, and I got to see it. They have never had the opportunity to ride in the shade of a tree. The things that we take so for granted that come here. Again, I think of the things that we take for granted. Jack Kennedy, clerk for Wise County, long been involved with NASA and different things. He tried to get dark skies designation for Bark Camp Lake, part of Scott County. Kept it on for years. Last year, in August, had me speaking before the Finance Committee of the Senate Finance Committee for the state. One of the gentlemen said, "Oh, I'm so looking forward to sitting out here tonight at the Martha Washington and looking at the stars." He was from Fairfax. He don't ever get to see the Milky Way, the Big Dipper, or anything else, all the light pollution. Well, I called Jack Kennedy to see what the status was with the designation of dark skies. It was declined. They said the light pollution from Coburn negated the designation for dark skies. Now, they want it dark. Now, it might be that dark out in Pocatello, Idaho at night, I don't know. But we could still market that to people who just seen the Milky Way. They've never had an opportunity to see it. This is the type of things that I think that we need to get involved with. They don't involve building a trail, but coming in here, maybe they want to go to the bathtub and let them visit that, lose their flip-flop, but we could do many things of that nature. Kane Gap. No, Larry Fleener. We've been working with him. He's a big historian, perhaps most of you know him, read some of his books. Fascinating. Kane Gap is in Duffield, just to the left of the two water tanks that you see as you're leaving Duffield toward Big Stone. The ruts left from the carts and the wagons of the 300,000 people that followed Boone's pathway across that gap are there. They're still there. They're wanting us to work with them to make them where they can be enjoyed without being destroyed. That's going to be tricky. They had applied for a grant through the Virginia Outdoor Fund to begin this endeavor. It would lead from the Daniel Boone Interpretive Center down the hill through Thomas Village back up to Kane Gap. Friday, that grant was denied. That to me is sacred ground where those ruts are. Their explanation, the reason it was denied, that they were overwhelmed with 95 applications and they tried to choose the ones that were most deserving. I don't know where that lies. I asked the Department of Conservation and Recreation if they could send a list of alternative funds or source of funding. And I have a list of those. I will share those. Maybe we could get something through that. That really needs to be expanded upon and worked upon. Years ago, J.E. Fugit worked diligently on trying to acquire a trail to connect High Knob with Natural Tunnel. It didn't come about. I would like to see that project resurrected, get some traffic through there, and I think that we need to try it again. Tomorrow, we're going to be meeting with Danny Dixon, Mayor of Nicholsville, to pursue laying out potential routes for horse trails in the Nicholsville area. We have tried, and I think there may be some people who are willing to work with us. Film at 11 on the results of that. We'll share that with you when we get back. Really, I really do. This is personal to me. My wife says I spent too much time on this spearhead trails. This is my passion, and I want Scott County to start reaping the benefits as the other counties have throughout our jurisdiction. We just got a grant to do another economic impact study. Other counties have done so well. I want you all to come up to par with them, succeed and exceed. If you all have any thoughts on where we might go, any suggestion, I'm open for ears. we want to work with you whatever manner we possibly can. Thank you.
I want to just make a couple of comments. I met Jack just filming the Big Stone Gap movie, and I spent some time there talking to him and stuff, known him for a pretty good while. But anyway, back on this, on these trails, where Scott County, you know, we're blessed to have all this federal property. I know those other counties have coal company properties, and getting ATVs off of the roads onto federal property, I don't think it would ever happen. They would ever, I'm not about ATVs. North Carolina's done, you know, less restrictions on ATVs than Kentucky has. If we could get to where Spearhead Trail could be involved in it, to where you could operate ATVs on state maintained roads. And I talked to Doug Kilgore Monday about that, and he said he would look at it, but and I know the towns are allowing it now. They can come, and I guess the towns are policing it and riding ATVs. They'll go to the stores, McDonald's, and all that stuff. But if we could ever do that, to where we could operate ATVs in the High Knob on state maintained roads, and not, you know, and do it through the permit process like they do Spearhead Trails. I went to Hayside Road, mine, I had to pay the full amount because Scott County is not part of it, like those counties are. And so I hear it all the time. If we were allowed to take my side by side across the High Knob, you know, on 619 or those Forest Service roads that are like between High Chaparral and the High Knob, places like that. But if Spearhead Trail maybe get behind that and allow that, where we do a permit process, Spearhead Trail can make money off of it. And even the deputies here in the county said they would help police it, you know, if they would ever allow that. Then if you could leave there and say, go to the front porch or the Black Diamond at Dungannon to eat, get your gas, whatever, and not, you know, and it'd be legal. So anyway, your thoughts?
That is something that needs to be explored. It was a long, arduous process because Virginia had never heard of such a thing as allowing ATVs on the highways, especially in town. But that was the whole premise of it.
Yeah.
Coming off the trail into the community for the gas, food, and lodging. We worked with DMV, VDOT, Sheriff's Association, State Police to get this negotiated to where we could do that. Speed limit needs to be 35 and under mountain trails. That should not be an issue. But when it gets into places like on 65, 72, that would be an issue. Cannot do it on where the speed limit is 55. But when you get into a tighter community, that speed limit comes down. They have been very reasonable. Of course, all these institutions have their own guidelines that they got to hold to as well, and to negotiate, it takes a while. It would be nice if that could come about. You would just about have to have a trail adjacent to that. The roads that we have done have been connectors to off-road trails.
Right.
Now we do have one in Richlands area that is a combination 4-wheel drive and ATV. That's worked out pretty well. But we're like in St. Paul, where initially they were able to come through the traffic light to cross over to the McDonald's that came in. That has been nullified, and they do not like crossing on major arteries. But we can talk to them and see where we can go from there.
Well, Terry seemed to think it's doable. I talked to him about it, and I said, you know, if the town's allowed, the sheriff's office, they would help police it. You know, to where, and even their deputies said they would help police it. You know, they like riding back there too.
Yeah.
But I'd let them get in my side by side and go from where I live, I got some trails and get back in the High Knob area and just ride, you know, back in those areas and something like that, and then but require a permitting process like Spearhead Trails is doing, where you have to have the little decal or whatever
Right.
you have to have. You pay for it. So,
you know, we have rangers that patrol our trails now, and that helps. I don't know. We will pursue it.
all right.
Nothing ventured.
Well, I get
nothing
with you
gained.
on it. We can work together on it. And
Sure.
I think it's a moneymaker for and then people wanting to do that. It would be, you know, the businesses around, and like where the Hunters Valley East comes out on 72. I mean, that's 55, you got about a quarter of a mile, it's 55. You know, by the time you get there to the town limits, it goes to 25 or 35, whatever it is. But, you know, to lower that speed limit from that store at quarter of a mile, you know, back to 35 and be a 35-mile-an-hour road. So.
I say nothing ventured, nothing gained.
That's the way I see it too.
Let me just say a few words. Jack Mack, you're a perfect representative for this group. Jack Mack and I go back over 50 years to Banner Elk. We went to school together in North Carolina. At that time, I skied, and I'm sure you skied on beach. I worked construction over on Sugar. Well, about 2 years ago, Danny and Frida and I went up on top of Pine Knob, and the gentleman that owns the land and was clear cutting it was there. And he told us that day, you can see from Pine Knob to the back of Beach Mountain at night and see them skiing down the slope on the back of Beach Mountain. We were sitting, I said this 2 years ago, year and a half, however long I've been on this board. We're sitting on a gold mine with High Knob. And he was willing to put more money into the top of High Knob if we could get the road built. And it's really going to be a boon for us for it to come as far as it's coming over the mountain. But we need to continue it on down.
It needs to have the utilities up there.
Yes, it does.
Now, we dug a well, went down just shy of 1,000 feet, hoping to get water for the horses. Not enough there. We don't even have a pump on it. The grant money ran out. Over a weekend, they've got about 395 gallons. Now, this is near the top, the landing area at the top. We're all seeing people move to our area people are buying property sight unseen. And if we can get the word out that you've got a place where you can see the Milky Way, or the places where the silence is deafening. My byline is, we're confronted with insurmountable opportunity, and I truly believe that. We have got so many things that people would just are itching to come out and just share it and be here. They're so fed up with the lifestyle of these beltways. I've got cousins who moved out of DC, Baltimore area, down in the valley. The biggest noise they've got to contend with is the stream flowing by the bedroom window. They think they've gone to heaven. We are in a beautiful, beautiful place.
Hey, Jack, you mentioned something about signage.
Yes.
Do you let me ask it this way. You like to put permanent markers in there? I mean, do you take donations or anything like that in terms of poles or?
That would probably, that would go a long way for in kind if we could do things like that. Now this is going all sorts of signage. We have so many trails and they're all numbered and marked.
Right.
And they're labeled. Green is easy, blue is moderate, black is difficult, and if you see the black diamond on yellow, you're a very nervy person, more nerve than a bum too. But now it's that type of signage, it's signage, and also the promotion. So that this is involving more everything now is done over the internet, and allow us to do some advertising along those lines. But we want to do kiosk, these selfie boards and that sort of thing. Yes, we'd be delighted to work and see what all we could come up together with. There's so much in these names. People get fixated on them. Thunderstruck, I think that's a wonderful name. There's a Thunderstruck Ridge that's right next to High Knob. To my understanding, years before that, that's what the High Knob region was called. We've got so much heritage with early settlers, the Native Americans. We've got a whole lot to work with. Be delighted to talk to you about it.
Appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jay.
Well, at B.com, then we'll take a break after that. So, Virginia Department of Transportation, if you want to come, please. Then we'll take a break after that. Good morning.
Good
morning. How's everybody doing?
Oh, wonderfully well, thank you.
I spoke to Marshall a couple of weeks ago, and he asked if I would be willing to come down sometime and talk to you guys, so I told him I would come.
Go ahead and state your name so everybody knows who you are.
Sorry, Wade Belcher.
Thank you.
And Wade has kind of been the guy I went to since Jackie's not, is he not with you now, or?
Jackie's he's on long-term absence.
Okay.
Taking care of some family issues. And then I started out as the lead in Scott County maintenance manager, and then in February I was moved to Wise and Dickinson County. And then the guy that took over from me and Lee in Scott County has retired, and now Jackie's off, so kind of wearing 3 hats at the moment. But I just came in to talk to you about any issues that you might have and kind of give you an update on where we're at with some of our 6-year plan projects. I'm sure some of you have seen the construction going on. We're on Beeline Road, working that one. All we have left to do there is to pave it. All the pipes and everything been put in. New Holland Road, again, all we need is paving. Jane Hill Circle, just need to pave it and it'll be done. And then we have Greens Chapel and Gilmore's Chapel Road that both, we have those pipes to put in and pave those as well, and we'll be done. And then I know the gentleman mentioned the project on High Knob. That'll be one of our upcoming projects. We'll start at the Wise County line and then pave down as far as we can with the funding that we've got. And then, of course, all the projects that are being funded this year on the secondary 6-year plan, we'll be starting those as well.
Do you have any idea how far they'll come down on that High Knob Road? 619.
I mean, we're hoping to get at least 3 miles, but I mean, you guys are well aware of price increases. We're having some of the same issues getting parts and things. Labor's getting more expensive, so we had originally planned to get at least 3 miles down the mountain.
That'd be almost taking 7 miles, like 6.8 miles from pavement to pavement.
Yeah, and then we're hoping to get a second phase of the project, sometime in the future.
What are that part they're gonna do now? Will they do site clearance, drainage?
Yeah, we're
all
gonna
that
do,
stuff?
it'll be similar to a secondary 6-year plan project. We'll improve all the drainage. We'll try to do some widening, and pave.
You know about when that might start?
We are hoping to, like I said, these projects that I just mentioned, New Holland Road, Gilwater Chapel, Jane Hill Circle, we're hoping to have those done by snow season. And then after snow season, we'll start this next batch of projects, which will include High Knob, Good Cooper, Spurlock Hollow, Fort and Summit Road, and Eaton Hill.
Did you say New Hurling?
New Holland.
New Holland.
Yes. New Holland Road is currently under construction.
Right.
So all we like there is to pave it, the widening and the pipes have been put in. But as far as starting like this 619 High Knob project, we have a certain window when we can cut trees. It's from April 15th to November 15th due to environmental reasons. So we wouldn't be able to start any of these new projects this summer because we're not inside of that tree cutting window.
What about Beeline Road? What is that road number? I know it's not 624 because that's the most traveled.
It's 753.
753?
Yes, ma'am.
When do you think the paving will be done on that?
We're hoping to start on that within the next few weeks. We just have to put a base down and get our paver down to pavement.
Because I've had 2 or 3 people call me and say that VDOT had paved part of, I think it was Bunker Road down on Berrytown side, and they said, have they made a mistake and meant to do Beeline Road? And I said, well, I don't really know, but I'll see if I can find out.
Now, we did some surface treatment on Bunker Road to fix some maintenance issues, but Moving forward, I know in the past, we've always surface treated our secondary 6-year plan projects. But then, within the next 2 or 3 years, we gotta try to come back and get it on our paving schedule. So what we're doing now is making sure that all these secondary 6-year plan projects have asphalt on them once the project's done. So Bunker got some surface treatment, but we're actually gonna bring our, VDOT just bought a paver recently, we're gonna bring it up and pave the line.
Yeah,
It's
and then-
the paver's in Dickinson County right now. And as soon as it gets done, we'll have it.
And 624 is on the 6-year plan.
624, yeah, I don't have the full plan in front of me, it may be a few years out, but I'm pretty sure it is on the plan.
It is.
Yeah.
I live there.
Yeah, I think I know right where you live.
I think you do.
Let me mention Sarah Circle. The gentleman from American Legion mentioned it earlier, and he kind of threw that in at the end. He's a bus driver down there that has a problem.
I heard he mentioned something, but I couldn't.
A year and a half ago, when I first came on board, that was the first complaint I had. And he didn't finish the whole story, this gentleman this morning did. There's a culvert that goes from Sarah Circle over under the down Boone Road toward the railroad that is a half to 3/4 full. Every rain like this one we got this week, it floods several homes, basements up through there on that circle. And I was told, I guess a year ago, that there was some new machines that would actually replace culverts. And the two people from VDOT left here and went down there and talked to property owners. And that's the last I've heard of it.
Yeah, that was Mr. Christian and myself went down.
It was, yes,
And
yes.
We had plans to put in a new culvert there and change the angle of it, because the angle it's sitting on right now, once the creek gets up, it's back flushing back up through the culvert. It has been put in for environmental clearance, so we do have the work plan to do, just waiting on clearances, and things are just getting really backed up with shortage of labor and materials and everything.
That's understandable. And he mentioned the west side of Sarah Circle. That sounds like just a chug hole or something on that end. I drove it 2 or 3 times just looking and seeing what he was talking about. And that culvert's a problem. I think that's the main thing.
I agree. Yeah. And we do have it planned to replace.
All right.
I have a question that a citizen had asked me in our community, and he may be watching, and that's okay, and I'll try to explain the best I know how. I know VDOT wants people to go to the website and to do the fill out the work orders and things like that. So is there a way, it can come from any one of our districts and all these work orders go in, but there's no feedback to us in our county that we're able to, like a spreadsheet, having some sort of feedback, that way.
I can definitely get the board some information on current open work orders and
that would be
sort of thing. So.
Well, that would be helpful. I mean, I guess that's what we're trying to get at, because a lot of citizens from each of our districts could put work order in. I wouldn't even know about it, or they wouldn't know about it. It would be helpful to us to know that progress, is happening on the county side of it. If that makes sense.
Yes, it does, and I'll work on getting the board some information on it.
Okay, I have to.
And just for some perspective, Scott County, we get more work orders from Scott County. We get at least 3,000 work orders a year from Scott County, and have released our Fort Blackmore, for instance. Each of our employees has 130 miles of road per employee that they're responsible for. So it's a lot of work, and we're trying some new things to try to keep up with some of it and get ahead.
And we'll talk more about that, after this meeting.
But I'll definitely we'll come come up with a way to get you some information on what's open, the progress of it, that sort of thing.
Right. I think that would be helpful to each of the supervisors here as well. Highway 58 tree situation, we've talked about this before.
Yes.
On Highway 58, like you're going towards Hilton, probably about a quarter mile up there, just past the Jane Hill project that you're working on.
Yes.
There's a tree that actually fell there a couple of weeks ago across the road, 58. We've been talking about this for months. There's another one that's, as a result of that one falling, it's leaning all the way across 58. It's going to fall, okay? Somebody can put some signs out there and make that thing fall without somebody getting hurt. I guess that's the point on that one. AP Carter Highway. Pretty much all the way up through there. I mean, it's, a lot of people like to travel that road. There's a lot of traffic on it. The ditches are very close to the road.
Okay.
And in a place or two, you know, where there's culvert, the pavement has partially broken away there, and you try to dodge that. If you're meeting a vehicle, you've practically got to stop, and I'll give you more information on that after this. But as a whole, the ditches on both sides of the AP Carter Highway, there's a lot of the tiles that are stopped up. I told you I wouldn't be too hard on you. Long Ridge Road, I think we may have talked about this before. That's off of Highway 23 before you get to the Tennessee state line. Where the pavement is broken up because of the fuel trucks that are going in and out of there. Excuse me. From barter transport, I guess you'd call it, where they can travel in and out of there. If somebody could take a look at that, I've had citizens that live there call about that. So, and I have a couple, three other things, but I'll talk with you about that later.
Well, I'll get out to Long Ridge and take a look at it. Like I said, we recently invested in a VDOT on paper, so our guys can get out and do some paving themselves, and we won't have to rely on contractors. So that's what we got to do to take care of issues like this. So I'll get out and look at it and see.
I appreciate that. And I'll say this. Wade and I talked here a few days ago, and we talked about him coming down today, and this is your first time coming up like this in this capacity before us. Appreciate you coming, and Wade's always been very helpful every time I call him to try to get an issue resolved and that sort of thing. And so I appreciate that very much.
I mean, just like the gentleman was talking about you guys earlier, that you serve the community. That's my job too. That's what I want to do. I try to do my best at it. And sometimes you can't give people the answer they want, but I do. I'm very serious about trying to do my best for the community.
You're like Jack right there. You got a passion.
Yeah.
All right, good. That's what we like to see.
Well, I've got several roads. One of them was the Ballfield Road that the gentleman was talking about. That's in my district. There's a cluster of unpaved roads that's around Addington Frame, Midway, Twin Springs. There's just a cluster of roads. Hale Springs, yeah.
Yeah, as the gentleman was talking, I took taking some notes, and I'm going to go out and see if there's anything we can do to make some improvements. But as you guys know, about our only option to get a dirt road paved is the secondary 6-year plan.
People are, of course, he was a little different. He's wanting his road paved. He's mentioned that several times to me. But people in general are getting to the point that they don't care whether it's paved or not. They've got to have some sort of maintenance done on these roads. About you know, I've turned in, I don't know how many work orders. You know, the simple ones are what I would call simple. They may not be simple to you all, but, you know, going out and just scraping the road, you know, and fixing it. That's one thing, but we're going to have our ditches cleaned out. We're going to have drain tiles put in and cleaned out. Until that happens, you know, you can go on Hell Springs Road right now, I guarantee you, and there'll be 15 tons of gravel on private property where it's washed off. You know, this is not just damaging, you know, our roads and damaging vehicles that's trying to go over it. It's damaging personal property, you know, because, you know, the agricultural property, you know, that's being covered by this. You know, we got to figure out a way to control the water, and I know that's hard. Water is probably one of the hardest things to control that there is, but you know, Luray Road, about I got a call. I'd put in several work order things, and I got a call saying that they were going to fix it, but as to my knowledge, Bill lives over there or towards that area. His family does. They've not done anything yet. Is that right? There's like 6 or 7 drain tiles within 100 yards, maybe. And it's almost like they've just put one in. It's fairly steep. Of course, the bus travels all these roads pretty much. Yes. You know, in this cluster that I'm talking about. And I wish we could show it on a map. You know, it is a cluster, and those of you who know where I'm talking about, there's a lot of roads. Snowflake Road, I mentioned that a lot. It's the water situation. It's there needs to be drain tiles put in, cleaned out. I don't know what it would take, because, you know, I know it's a money issue. It takes money to do this. It takes manpower to do this. But the longer we leave it untouched, the worse it's going to get. And I bet today we could take a 4-wheel drive truck and it would drag over a ditch where the water crosses the road. You know, you could go, and maybe I make it sound simpler than what it is, but you could go now, and where the water is crossing the road, put a drain tile, because we're already getting runoff onto private property, but it's getting all the gravel and dirt. I mean, there's a lot of these roads that's down to the bedrock. You know, there's no gravel there. When they do scrape them, it's just mud. It's not the Ballfield Road where this that he was talking about is real steep. And I don't know if there's something that you all could do about that. That would help the runoff there. But it's real steep, and the gravel. The last time I was there, the road was red. It was just clay. There was no gravel. Because all the gravel was in somebody's field down the road. You know, and it's not just the gravel roads. There's a place, and I meant to get the address. It's on 71, right down below where you turn off to go to Long Holler Road, right, J&P, the gas station. It's right down below there. There is, I guess it's a drain tile issue. There's so much water going down through there that it's eating away from the bank of where 71 is, and eventually that's going to keep on going underneath there. But you just have to see it to see.
I think I may have looked at that issue. Does it look like a hole beside of the road as you're?
Yeah, there's a fence there, and then they keep it mowed.
The issue there is the issue's on private property. There's a pipe that goes under some private property there. That pipe has failed, and it would be up to the property owners to fix that portion. If they don't fix that portion first, anything that we do is not going to stay or.
So it's the property owner that's above where that drain tile goes under 71.
Right there's somebody has piped like upstream there,
Okay.
and that pipe has started failing, and it's on private property. Well, you know, we can't do anything about it, but until that issue's fixed, there's really nothing that we can do that's going to be able to stay, because every time it rains, until that issue off of our right of way is fixed, it's just going to wash the stone away and anything that we put in there. So
Okay.
I've looked at that one a couple of times and tried to reach out to the property owner.
Okay.
If we're talking about the same
Yeah,
location, but it
I don't
sounds
know.
like it.
This one, again, all the runoff is going onto one farm, and it's getting piled. I mean, it's probably knee deep of dirt and stone that's coming. But there is, I guess, another drain tile above there that's a private drive that goes underneath that private drive, and then it goes down and cuts across 71 onto a pasture field.
Okay, if you could you give me an address?
Yeah, I meant to get it this morning, but I
Hey, I can
didn't
give you
get
a
it.
card before I leave.
Okay, yeah, but I don't know, there's so many issues, it just, I don't know where to begin. And it feels like we're, you know, Joey was talking about, it wasn't our last, was he here our last meeting or meeting before last or something like that? You know, he said that Scott County was number 2, you know, with unpaved roads, you know, in the whole state. But people are getting to where, you know, they want them maintained, you know, you know, I'm hearing more issues like that. You know, we're gonna have to figure out a way whether we have to reach out to somebody, if that's something that we can do as a board, to reach out to somebody in Richmond, to try to get more funding or whatever, manpower, of course that's funding, whatever it takes to help, you know, since we do have this amount of roads, you know, we need the manpower and the financial ability to maintain them.
Well, we're very aware of the issues, and I mean, I 100% agree with you. Ditchings are a major problem in the whole Wise residency, not just Scott County, but we are trying different things. We've bought some.
How many employees y'all have in Fort Blackmore now?
At Fort Blackmore, we are supposed to have 13, and I think I've got 8, 9 right now. We're short a superintendent, we're short a crew leader, we're short 2 operators, which is our truck drivers.
Did they have 20 some there at one time?
Oh, Lord, yeah. Yeah, back.
That's part of the issue, but I mean, it's
ago.
not your all's fault. I mean, it's just the fact that you don't have the resources you used to have.
Well, and typically, we've got hired equipment contractors that we can call for help, and with all the price increases on fuel and things, all of our contractors are dropping their contracts and rebidding them due to fuel costs. So we have no hired equipment support right now. It's just on that.
You know, you talk about that, Fort Blackmore, Nicholsville's basically closed. I mean, there's not really anybody there that, you know, work-wise, you know, that goes out and.
Yeah, we keep some materials.
But I mean, it's just not, you know, somebody mentioned, and I hadn't really thought about this, but the other day, you know, the state closed these, you know, basically Nicholsville, Gate City, they closed these, and we lost those jobs. We lost those state paying jobs, you know, that was there. And, you know, I hadn't really thought about that, but that's right. I mean, you know, it's a loss of jobs that people will be paying into the communities in our county. We've lost that, and you know, for the amount of maintenance work that needs to be done just in our county, I'm sure others are similar, but ours, with one of the most unpaved roads, I mean, there has to be some sort of a maintenance schedule, and I've said that before. I don't know if that's doable, and I know it takes money.
Well, like I said, we are working on some things to try to help in Scott County. We're buying new equipment to help with ditching, to where we can run a ditching operation with less people, and it's more productive. We did a test not too long ago with our new piece of ditching equipment, and under the ideal conditions, to see how many miles of ditching we could do in one day. And with this new equipment, we got like 8 miles of ditching in one day. And we're also looking at, through attrition, as some people leave in other counties, we may reassign some jobs to Scott County. They'll give us more bodies to help do some work. And then as our new hire equipment contracts and stuff go out to bid, they'll get us some more help.
Well, maybe, I'll get in touch with you.
Yeah, so that-
You know, one other thing, it was, I guess what Marshall was talking about, if we could just give the people an explanation.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, that's like the Luray Road deal, and there was some others too that I got a phone call about saying it was gonna be fixed. Then I tell people it's gonna be fixed, and it's still not, you know, I understand the inflation, and it's all about the money, so. But,
well, we need to do a better job of contacting citizens to let them know what's going on.
But,
and
yeah,
I'll work with the managers in Scott County to make sure that they're keeping citizens better informed and calling.
Write this address down. The guy talked to him, and he had contacted VDOT. It's 5585 River Bluff Road.
I'm sorry, that was 5585?
Yep. 5585 River Bluff Road.
Oh, River
Is that,
Bluff.
yes, 653, I think, the south side of the Clinch River. And I contacted somebody about it some time ago, and I don't, anyway, said it's still not fixed. What is, the drain pipe is totally blocked, and it's taking his driveway out every time it rains, so it's right there in his driveway, and it's, I looked at it, he said every time it rains, I gotta redo my driveway, because that pipe is totally blocked. I think it's been drove on, caved down on the upper side of it, but you can't even see it. You can see where it exits, you can't see where it enters, so, you know, we have to do that. He said he contacted somebody too, but I don't know if it may have been out back when I was something, I don't remember, but it's been a long time ago, so anyway. But he said, could he replace the pipe himself? I said, well, I don't think so. But then, he said, I'll do it myself if they'll let me.
Is it a cross pipe or?
It is, it's a cross pipe, it crosses River Bluff Road.
Well, I'll get it looked at.
But his question was, can I fix it myself? He said, I got a tractor and stuff, I'll dig it out. I said, well, probably not.
Yeah,
because,
no, we can't.
Kind of frown on that.
On that, yeah.
That's what I told him, but I said, anyway, he said he's just that desperate to get it fixed.
Can you look at this one too?
Sure, I'll look at anything else.
Emerald Valley Circle, where it crosses, where there's at the intersection of Ford Creek. That's a really, really bad flooded area. They sent me that message a while back.
And it's a drainage issue.
It is a drainage issue. Drain tile is at the intersection of Emerald Valley Circle and Ford Creek.
Any other issues that anybody needs?
I want to thank, if anybody don't have anything, I want to thank Wade for coming today, and hopefully you can do that every month or two. And
yeah, I'll start coming.
I think that's
Really
helpful.
appreciate you guys.
I appreciate it.
And I'll do my best to get these issues taken care of as quickly as possible.
Well, you've always been on top of it every time I've called, and I appreciate that.
Do you have a business card, Wade?
Yeah, I've got a few with me here.
That way we can, I'd rather do it on the phone, or, than you.
Wade, if there was a way that, like on the, on your website to report a road problem, if there was a way that we could sign up as a county, or a way that it's coming from us, where the board could give us those requests and put that on there, because right now, I put in several of them when people call in, but they're all from Bill Dingus.
Yeah.
So it looks like I've got road issues, all kinds of road issues. But if there was some way that you could click that you're a local government making this request, or some sort of mechanism like that.
I'll check with our, the guy that runs that program's in our district office in Bristol. I'll check with him and see if there's anything we can do like that.
Then that feedback that they were asking about would come back to our email.
Yeah. I'll see what our options are there. and let you know.
Appreciate you coming.
But I've got 4 cards with me, I'm sorry. You've got my number.
I've got your number.
I've got your contact.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. Let me,
right.
just let me know if you need anything.
Okay. Thanks for coming.
Thank
Well,
you, Mr. Bill.
Say, let's take a 10-minute break. 10 minutes.
You have two letters of support to consider this morning. The first one is for the Kingsport Metropolitan Transportation Planning Organization to submit a smart scale project for the Weber City project, which would be from the state line to the River Bridge. It's important when you consider these resolutions to know that if you pass this resolution and we move forward with the application, that you are standing behind that application as it moves through smart scale, and if it's funded, that this project will go forward. Or if you back out once pressure begins to mount from the citizens or businesses in Weber City, if that does happen, then you would be responsible for the cost that VDOT has incurred up to that point. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. The first resolution is to support the smart scale project from the state line to the River Bridge. The smart scale application will be submitted by the Kingsport Metropolitan Transportation Planning Organization, because there is a separate pot of money that they are eligible for. And the weighted factors this year are economic development's 30%, safety's 30%, accessibility 10%, congestion mitigation 10%, environmental quality 10%, and land use 10%. And the second resolution is basically the same, but it would be in support of your application for smart scale, which would be from the River Bridge to the Addington Oil at the railroad crossings there at that intersection.
Okay.
So two separate resolutions.
Do we have to separate them? Can we vote on them together?
I would do them separate.
Okay. All righty. So with that, I hope you had a chance to look at them. I have, and we will do the first one, and which is the one from the state line to the River Bridge, correct?
Correct, for the Kingsport MTPO.
Yep. Or do we have a motion on that letter of support?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Bricky made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Tipton, second. Any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I vote aye also. All right, the second one is from the River Bridge to, where did you say?
Let's see, let me find the name.
Addington Oil.
Quick
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah, but there's a name for that
Addington.
crossing.
Addington.
Addington Oil.
Okay.
The name of the project is US 23 at Chapel Street, Safety Railroad
Okay.
Crossing Improvements. So that comes all the way down that Weber City corridor
Okay. All
to
right,
the Y.
do we have a motion on the second?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Tipton made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Peter, second. Any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Ms. Starnes. Next is the ARPA projects. The committee met last week after we had our budget finalization. So, Ms. Starnes, if you would.
The ARPA committee has 3 projects we would like to recommend for funding from the full board. The first one is a website upgrade, and we would like to request funding of up to $40,000 to redo the county website. The second one is an APHID grant match of $25,000. This is a one-to-one match with a grant EDA has received to build a farmer's market in Nicholsville. And the third one would be to work with a retail consultant up to $115,000 over a 3-year period. This would be something at the moment we're going to table, but we would like to earmark the funds for that project. And that is a 3-year amount for the contract.
It's 115, you said?
Mm-hmm.
And what is that again?
It's for a retail consultant. It would be for a retail consultant to come in and look at all county properties, and they would be the recruiter for retail type businesses. And that is a 3-year contract period. We would have to do an RFP, so that's why we want to up to amount.
The second one was 80,000.
The second one was 25,000.
25,000.
Grant match for the Nicholsville Farmers Market. The grant's 25,000. The match is 25,000.
And 40,000 for the website, that's correct.
Up to 40,000 for a
Okay.
website. If it ends up being more than that, we will come back and ask for more, but that's where we're at right now. So the three total, 180,000.
Would they be working with,
John? Yes.
Yes.
that last one?
Yes.
Can we do these together? Yes, we can.
We can.
With the committee. All
Unless
right,
there's one that you're not in favor of.
okay. If you have an issue with any one of these, we can do it differently, but if not, we will do it together. And we have these committees for a reason, and I like to take the recommendation from that committee to go forward with it. But one thing I would like for you to look at down the road somewhere, we'll get into that later, let's do this first, then we'll talk about this later. We'll do these together, it'd be the 40,000, 25,000, be the total 180,000. So do we have a motion to approve these projects as presented to you from the ARPA committee?
I make a motion, we approve them, if nobody has any problems with them.
Ms. Hood made a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Tipton, second, any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. What I was gonna say is, we need to look, if we can use ARPA money to do it, to look at the old jail complex, the old sheriff's office on demolition. Y'all be thinking about that, the committee research, and I know Bill will probably be the lead on it as far as reporting back to you all on that, but we need to do something with that. And the storage, that they have stuff stored in the old jail, some kind of pod or something, storage, a temporary storage facility for that stuff. Bill, your thoughts, if you think any of this is doable, or your thoughts on what we should proceed with this? I mean, you're dealing with this firsthand, I mean.
Yeah, the first thing to do is to figure out where we're going to put what's stored in the old jail now. Some of it being evidence. So
Right.
we've been working with the sheriff's office on trying to figure out what kind of facility they would need. The other stuff stored in there belongs to the clerk's office. And it's also stuff has to be stored for perpetuity. And so we're looking at options there. As far as the demolition of the buildings, that should be pretty straightforward. And then what we want to have after they're demolished, if that wants to be a gravel parking lot until we decide what we want to do in the future.
Does that stuff that has to be stored, Bill, does it have to be stored in a climate control?
It's paper documents, a lot of it is, so I would imagine some sort of conditioned space. Which the old jail is not really that right now, so. And I'm not sure what the evidence consists of. It's locked up, you can't see in there, so.
Is there any storage room back in here that's available, or is it all taken?
There might be some storage area, but nothing secure like that, like where you could put evidence.
The reason I was asking if it had to be climate controlled is, I was at an auction the other day and they sold a whole bunch of, they sold 4 each tractor trailer enclosed. And I didn't know where you could use something like that or not.
I've been in contact with a pod company, and they can build to suit whatever you need. There's another issue with housing the prisoners that they bring to the jail for court proceedings and looking at pods. The only issue I have with that is everywhere I've seen doing something like that, Dixon County did that for a while. They used pods. But it's something they did temporarily while they were doing something else.
Right.
So to
Just short
set
term.
it up without an end game or a plan to move from the pods into something else, I don't know if that's something that we can do long term, or if it'd be cost effective to do long term.
And I know the sheriff's office has looked at Connex boxes. I think that's what you're talking about for some of their files and stuff. So that, I think that would work for them if we could put one of those maybe in a spot at the landfill or something.
Yeah, the sheriff has asked about a pod. I'm not sure what he's thinking about storing in it, up at where we're putting the impound lot at the landfill property, in that area.
What about the building at the break place, the white building up on the hill that the county owns? Would it be suitable for something like that if it was cleaned up? Could be used? You know which one I'm talking about? Right behind the cemetery office. There's a big white building there that belongs to the county also. Cinder block building.
On top of the hill?
Yep.
I'm not familiar with that.
Is that the one behind Robert's Tire?
Mm-hmm.
The one right behind Robert's Tire?
Yeah.
Okay. We've asked for that a few times, especially for like a maintenance shop, and it's saying that we would maintain it, help fix it up and stuff, but we've been denied it every time we've asked for it.
Who owns it?
EDA.
County.
We can fix that.
County.
We can fix that.
We're paying the bills.
Yeah. So, yeah, we can fix that.
I mean, it's just a thought, I don't know. It's something that's sitting there not used. Just like all the bays down there. Sitting down there not used, not rented, not collecting no money, not collecting no taxes.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Tell it like it is.
I'm with you. I am. As far as that property, I'm starting to have a conversation about some things that we'll discuss later, not here, but about another option as far as space needs. So we'll probably go into closed session to discuss that. But when we do, anyway, something to be thinking about. But looking at the demolition side of it and what we can do as far as storage. And this is all temporary. And whoever, the judges may be concerned about something that we're doing is not, is a permanent solution. It would not be a permanent solution, but temporary till we can do something different than what we're doing. And Mosley, I know they put a lot into this, what they presented to us back a couple of months ago, and I heard a lot back from the people in the county about what we can and cannot afford, and so I'm just, pretty expensive stuff. All right, thank you, Arpa Committee. Y'all done a good job with this, and your recommendations is taken seriously. We know that it's important what you do. Anything else on that? Duffield Days.
This is for the fireworks permit, which is on your tablet, and in your extra packet is their application. And they will be using Dynamic Effects and Fireworks Company once again, a professional fireworks display for that fireworks show, which will be September 3rd. And it will be located on the grounds of the Crook Road Tech Building in Duffield. EDA has passed a resolution that that's okay to use that property. I would like to ask permission to go ahead and approve the fireworks permit. I am still waiting to get the certificate of insurance, and I will hold that permit until I get all the required documents needed. But that way we've already got the approval done once I get those items. They've always sent those in the past, so I don't expect any problems this year either.
All right, on this fireworks permit, we need a motion to approve this fireworks permit pending her getting the correct documentation, the insurance and so on. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Jeter made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second. Miss Addington.
Miss Addington, second. I'll get that right, but I'm getting close to getting it right. Any discussion?
Just a little change.
Yeah. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. The $1,000 you want.
We've already done that. We did that last month.
Okay. All right. County Attorney items. Can you hear us, Ms. Kegley?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
We can. Yes.
You all have my report. I don't have anything to add. Can try to answer any questions.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for our County Attorney, Ms. Kegley? Miss you being here, but we got you, anyway, but in person.
Yeah, I appreciate you letting me do this.
How have we done so far? You haven't had to punch me or kick me, sitting here.
No, I thought about it a couple times, but it's okay. You've done well.
All right, thank you, ma'am. All righty, item 15, county administrator items, Ms. Narnes.
The treasurer's accountability report is in your folder. Available cash after the July bills is $4,999,302.50. That is just a little bit, very little bit above where we were at this time last year. Claims for the month, we have a few large ones. Tobacco Region Revitalization Commission, this is repayment number 3 for the APHID grant, $50,000. So we will have 2 more $50,000 payments back to the Tobacco Commission in 2024 and 2025. VACOR, $117,804.95. Those are the 2 larger claims for the month. So total current claims and early set, it's all the same this time. Total claims $292,192.32 is what needs to be approved for payment today.
And I'm sure everybody knows, so the people watching, listening would know this Tobacco Region Revitalization Commission payment. We have 2 more payments to go, and that is because of Mount Top Timber at Dungannon, where they were going to do the work there. It didn't happen, and it's all in the courts. I don't know where it's all shook out. Try to keep up with it, but COVID messed things up. So I don't know. Those guys they're dealing with it the best way they can, I guess. But that's just a repayment we're having to pay back because of that. But the OLP plant in Dungannon. Anybody have any questions or comments for Ms. Narnes?
I make a motion, we pay the bills.
All righty, Ms. Hackett made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Tiffin, second. Any discussion? All fair vote saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carried. The one thing that I'm glad to see, we got nearly $5 million carryover from in our general fund, and I'm glad of that. I remember when I first got elected, that was a number that Davenport and those folks said we should have that much in reserve. So we're there, and I'm glad we got that much. We're able to keep that in reserve. All right.
I do have a couple of things under miscellaneous. The first, we have been having some issues at Stony Creek Park with some illegal activities, and the sheriff's office would like to request your consideration if they arrest someone on county property at Stony Creek, if they can charge them going forward, like have those people not allowed back on county property, and if they are, charge them going forward with no trespassing, or that they are trespassing.
Okay.
So that's something that they want you to consider. I think they feel like that would be more teeth if someone is arrested there, that they're not allowed to come back to, because we want to keep that a family family environment park. We don't want things going on there that shouldn't be, because that was built as a parking area for the Devil's Bathtub, and we have a lot of out-of-state people coming to that park, and we don't want that kind of representation hanging out there. That shouldn't be.
Sally, how can we proceed with that? Can you tell us?
I'm not sure. This is the first I've heard about it, so I haven't looked at it. We need a chance to get, for sure.
Look at it and see what you think, and maybe in August you can let us know back how we need to proceed with that. If you would, please. Could you hear me okay? Hello? Anyway, we'll get back with her on that and see what we can come up with as far as down the road somewhere, maybe next month, and see how we can proceed with that.
Yeah, it's a new issue that's just come up within the last week. So something new. And of course, she's on vacation. We've not had a chance to discuss.
Okay.
The second thing is the domestic violence officer for the sheriff's office is going to be changing positions there. And we currently supplement the domestic violence officer's salary $4,956. And she currently, that employee waives insurance. She doesn't need county insurance, so that has been a big savings. And as you know, because of the Affordable Care Act, if you have an employee that, a full-time employee, then you're required to offer insurance. So what they're asking is for the county to continue that $4,956,000 supplement. And that would be a $40,000 salary for a domestic violence officer, because the grant pays $28,744, and they also, the sheriff's office has a fund that contributes $7,500. So the total would be $40,000 salary plus benefits. Currently, the benefits that we have been paying has been $6,542 plus the $4,956. So we're already contributing $11,498 plus whatever insurance costs we would have going forward, which can range anywhere from $8,000 to $16,000 roughly, based on single to family plan. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that domestic violence officer. I think they're having a hard time if we took away the supplement, finding someone to take that position under $40,000, because with the new legislation that's come out, starting certified officers' pay is $42,000. That was bumped up from the legislation that was just passed through.
Okay.
So just your thoughts on that, on whether you want to approve leaving that in and let them try to hire at $40,000 for that position.
So we would be putting in around $11,500 plus up to $20,000 with insurance.
Yeah, roughly, yes. The insurance would be your additional cost.
Right.
Y'all stops. Would this be new money have to be approved, or is it?
We could change that when we update the budget. It wouldn't have to be anything that has to be done right now.
Okay. Just food for thought then, right? Okay.
I mean, I need to know whether
You want to proceed with it?
Yeah.
All right. Do we need to vote on it, or just a consensus of the board?
I think a consensus would be fine.
Everybody okay with it? Not voting?
I'm okay with it.
Well, I see a lot of head shaking, nods,
Sure.
yes.
Yes.
All right. All right, you got it.
And then one other thing, I would like authorization to advertise for a public hearing to set the new tax levy. This will have to be advertised late July, so it'll be before our next meeting. And the public hearing would be late August, because of a reassessment, you have to have a 30-day advertisement period. So that's why I'm asking for authorization this early, because it would be advertised before next meeting.
So we couldn't do it in September, it had to be done late August, to have a special call meeting or adjourn meeting?
Yeah, it would be an adjourned meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty, so we need authorization on this, and I think that's, need to do that. So we need a motion to authorize Ms. Sarnes to advertise this. Do we have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Shaw.
All right, Mr. Tipton made a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bricky, second, any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Anything else?
That's all I have.
All righty, Ms. Pam Cox, Tourism Director. Yes, ma'am.
Hey Pam, before you get started, you can come on up.
I thought you was in trouble, you done something.
No, I was going to ask Jack, he was sitting there next to you, and obviously you've known him for a long time. I was going to ask you, if he was kin to you. I was going to ask him that, but both of you are very colorful in your presentation. So.
Jack Mack used to be in Trail of the Lonesome Pine.
Well, what I was going to get at, and I didn't, and he left. I have a pole I want to donate, to putting up signage or whatever. It's a telephone pole. Okay.
Oh,
So they can cut it and use it for signage and so forth.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll take it.
All right.
Okay. I'll tell him, I'm supposed to see, apparently I'm supposed to see him tomorrow. Bridget just told me so. Right.
That's what he told me.
So, we're gonna go see Danny Dixon tomorrow. Okay, okay. Are you gonna turn me on?
We want your PowerPoint.
Yes, please. And then, yeah, but then just as soon as we start the PowerPoint, then we'll do something, and then we'll do something, and then you have to do the others.
Oh,
Okay?
Okay.
Oh, my.
You have to make it complicated, you know. Why can't be too easy? You've only known for 2 hours that I was gonna stand.
Dropping the ball, Bill.
Okay, Bill.
There are a lot of things going on. Okay.
I can't talk. See, I can't talk without this thing on. Well, I need that. I need that pressy thing too.
There you go.
All right, you're in.
Okay, so, we gotta go back, so, see, there's me. Okay, so, this is my, quarterly tourism report. And so, I wanna start off first, telling you some good things. The ADDI, it's the American Advertising Federation. Each community, they all have their own little advertising federations, and so they always have annual award programs and your agencies and folks like that, and we could have submitted on our own. So anyway, the agency that did our brochure and the map and the kiosk and everything, they submitted those materials to the advertising contest. And we won the gold award for the Scott County brochure and the Scott County map, Let's Go. So if y'all remember, that's the piece that we did last year with the MLP funds, with COVID funds that we got. And then they won a silver award for the Devil's Bathtub. The ad that they did for, the TV ad that they did for Creation Kingdom Zoo won Best of the Show.
Wow.
Which that is really, pretty significant. And, this group had never worked with, they never really worked with tourism, with the tourism group. So they worked with us, and then they also worked with the town of Gate City. So we did get another marketing leveraging grant. Well, actually, this one fell under the purview of a DMO grant. And I will tell you that all of the grants that we had gotten in the last few years, we didn't have to have any matching funds because of COVID. But now going forward, we're going to have matching funds. In other words, we're going to have to come up with the $20,000 match to go on with the program. Last year, they would let us use in-kind funds, but we're going to be needing to have our own monies too. So we have $40,000 that we're going to spend on Wonderlove, stay a week, a month, a year. And these are the things that we are doing. So Virginia Tourism Corporation, they are offering a program through CrowdRiff. And CrowdRiff is a group that they take hashtags, like if you do Instagram and you hashtag Devil's Bathtub and you hashtag Scott County, and they put them all together. And it doesn't matter who has posted it on a website or anything, or on Instagram, they put them all together and they can put them on your site. So they're doing this free thing with Virginia Tourism called Localhood. And we can put stories, Google stories on there on Virginia Tourism. And if you'll go to the Virginia Tourism site, I'll show you the one that is going now. But these are some of what we've been doing, of what we've put on there. And then what happens is, once they're shown on the Virginia, well, you don't have to, Bill, that's okay. But once they're shown on the, okay, go over to, let's see. No. Go, if you can scroll, no, not that little arrow, that other arrow, that arrow, that arrow, that arrow, that arrow. That one up at the top, right there. Yeah, okay. So see, you can see there's ours, Discover Devil's Bathtub. And if you click on that, nope, click on it. Okay, see it shows, it'll show the stories. And it runs through, and stories are the big things to do on social media and everything right now. I don't really do them on Instagram or on Facebook, because what happens is those only stay up for 24 hours. But these Google stories that we're doing, they stay up forever. And so what these will do is, once they appear on the Virginia Tourism website, then they appear on our website. You don't have to show that one. But the one thing that I wanted to show you about that is what has happened in what we're doing with that, which, you know, here's Little Scott County, and most of the folks that are doing the local, I mean, anybody could do it, it's free. But a lot of the places have decided not to do it because it does take a lot of time. Well, our agency is doing it for us. Of course, you know, I am paying for that. We are paying for that, and that's going to come out of the $40,000 that we have. But we are showing up in impressions. We're showing up third. That means that people are watching our stories as much, you know, more so than anybody else's. As far as completing the stories, we're second. And then interactions, going to our website, we're second. And then visiting our website, we show up second. So that is a huge metric for us to, you know, for people to be on Virginia Tourism, and then they look at that, and then they go on to our website. And so the main thing that we're doing with this campaign is, most of it is video. Well, really all of it is video. We are going to have to do a reprint of the brochure and everything, but it's technology here. There's supposed to be.
I feel like I'm supposed to perform, you're pointing that at me.
No, well, there's supposed to, there's a commercial on there with that little black spot is. Can you see it? If you hit that.
Planning a day trip, weekend getaway, or exciting vacation? Find your wanderlove in Scott County. Located in the southwestern tip of Virginia, Scott County is the place to go for some down-home dining, one-of-a-kind shopping.
Okay, so this is the video that we did earlier. And what we did was we kind of changed it just a little bit. And it's now 30 minutes long, and it's got like 4 ads in it. And it is running an hour-long blocks in the Tri-Cities, in the DMAs. It's running in Greenville, Gray, Johnson City, Kingsport, Rogersville, Bristol, Norton, Lebanon, Abington, Glade Spring, Marion, and Gate City. So it's running an hour back to back. And I don't know exactly what time it comes on, but you know, it is running. So it's an hour-long show. You can watch that on our website. That's still on our website if you want to watch it. It's a little different from what you're seeing right here, but you can still go up and watch that. And then we're doing also. Then we're also doing commercials. And I think you're going to have to show them. We've got 4 30-second commercials. I guess you'll have to hit it. I'm sorry.
Find your Wonderlove in Scott County, Virginia, your destination for family-friendly fun. Explore the beauty of
adventure. Have a close encounter with exotic animals and dance to the music at the Carter Family Fold. Experience Natural Tunnel for a ride on a chairlift and a tour through history. And rest at any of our comfortable bed and breakfasts, cabins, or rentals. With all the great restaurants and shopping too, it's mountains of fun. Discover Scott County. Stay a week, a month, or a lifetime.
Okay, then if you'll go over and play that.
Planning a day trip, weekend getaway, or exciting vacation? Find your Wonderlove in Scott County. Located in the southwestern tip of Virginia, Scott County is the place to go for some down-home dining, one-of-a-kind shopping, and comfortable accommodations. Here in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, you'll find tasty treats, watch history come alive, enjoy toe-tapping shows, marvel at exotic animals, and experience breathtaking natural wonders. Discover Scott County. Stay a week, a month, or a lifetime. Find your Wonderlove in Scott County.
Then there's two more. Sorry.
Find your Wonderlove in Scott County, Virginia. This Appalachian community offers endless outdoor recreation adventure. Experience the Swirling Devil's Bathtub, one of the top scenic destinations in Virginia. Discover the majestic beauty of Natural Tunnel and enjoy epic hiking, biking, camping, kayaking, fishing, and more. At the end of the day, you'll find plenty of great local restaurants and home-style accommodations. Discover Scott County. Stay a week, a month, or a lifetime. Find your Wonderlove in Scott County, Virginia. This beautiful Appalachian community is the place to go for tasty dishes and unique shopping. Try some down-home cooking at the local legend Campus Drive-In. Indulge in delectable treats at the award-winning Family Bakery. Or take the Gutbuster Ice Cream Challenge at Teddy's Restaurant. Scott County is your shopping destination for fashion, collectibles, and fun gifts at all of our one-of-a-kind shops. Discover Scott County. Stay a week, a month, or a lifetime.
So.
Find your Wonderlove. Find your Wonderlove.
So, sorry.
It's okay.
So we have 4 different commercials. It's divided into the outdoors, dining and shopping, entertainment, lodging, and general. And so it's running in linear TV. You get about 33,000, almost about 40,000 impressions a month. And then it's running on streaming TV in Knoxville and the tourist markets that we've identified, kind of like within, you know, about a 3-hour drive because of the gas right now. And we did go a little bit out a little bit further. We get great reception from the Northern Virginia area. I guess it's, you know, it's an easy drive down here to this market. And then we're also playing they're also on social media, on Facebook, they're on Google search, they're on YouTube pre-roll, and it's using the 4 same commercials, just alternate in and out. And we do have a YouTube channel now. We don't have a lot of things on it, but we just keep trying to, you know, build that up. I did see one of the television spots did show up this morning on Facebook as I was looking. So I always just go real quick through Facebook, and that did show up. And we're also doing part of this grant that we applied for. They really wanted you to work with the visitor centers in the region, in the area, in the state. And so we are doing one of the digital spotlights at Rocky Gap. It's a 2-minute video, and I'm not going to show it. It'll just take too long. And then you got extra points if you included places, if you included all those, and we're doing brochure placements. And at Rocky Gap is where Back of the Dragon is, and then Lambsburg, and then that's right there at that 8177 interstate areas, and then Bristol, of course. So, the other thing is, if y'all remember last time I told you that we had talked to the DDA about using that property to put in a visitor center, based upon the information that we had gotten from, you know, that grant-driven visitor survey. And, you know, we still want to address the concerns of our visitors. They still need to be able to find, you know, their way around. They need the signage, they need this, they need that. They need a way to be able to get in touch with us, you know, just to see what all's going on here. So Frida and I went to Blowing Rock and looked at a kiosk that they have up there. Their kiosks are, I mean, there's different ways that you can go about doing a kiosk. And if we were to do a kiosk, that would be through the $30,000 in the Arpa grant that goes to tourism. But we haven't really decided yet what to do about that. We're going to have a meeting this month with my tourism venues and, you know, just kind of talk to them and see better ways that we can help them. And I suppose, I still say that the best piece of property, even to put something like that, is the property that they would let us have for a visitor center, because of the traffic and the ability to turn, you know, exit right and exit left. Whereas if we put it up here at Moccasin Gap, you can only go, that's one way in and one way out. You can't make a left-hand turn any longer. So, you know, we'll just see. But we have to apply for that money by the end of the year, by December the 30th, correct?
Thanks, ma'am.
Okay. So, and then for National Tourism Week this year, we sent out the information that was the result of our visitor survey. We sent that to all the folks in the area. And then we also did that little video that appeared. We also participated in the Virginia Tourism Welcome Center fan tour. And, you know, we were approached to do that first, to bring all of those visitor center folks here, but we couldn't afford to do it. I mean, I signed the checks for, I approved the funds for Heart of Appalachia, and just the lodging alone was $12,000. So we need to thank Heart of Appalachia for putting the bill for this. But they took them all over the region, and we started out that day, it was pretty cold. You know, in May, you just never can tell. We started out at the Daniel Boone Interpretive Center. We went to Natural Tunnel State Park. They went to the Wilderness Road Block House. They went to the zoo. And at the zoo, the bus got stuck. You're sitting there, you know, and the worst thing that can happen to one of those tour buses, it's not really that the bus gets stuck, it's that you break their windows and their trees were hanging down, and that's what you could tell, that's what he was concerned with. So we need to, you know, kind of we have gotten feedback on that. There's some things that need to be addressed addressed with some of the venues and everything, just some, you know, minor things that we need to tell them to fix in case, you know, we bring other tour groups in to see them. And so we took them to Carterfold that night. They ate. The Templetons graciously let us have dinner that night at their venue at the Crooked River Lodge, and you know, it was just outstanding. We were sitting there, and you know, it had gotten a little bit cold, and so the fog was rising up out over the valley, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. They have loved it. I've seen and talked to several of them since then, and they're like, when can we come back to Scott County and the Heart of Appalachia? And I'm like, well, just come on. So these are the events that work this spring, and you know, I will say that most everything has returned to normal. So, and that's, you know, that is a nice thing to see. So we did Run the Tunnel, and that's what we kicked off with, and Frank Kibler you all know Frank.
Oh, yeah.
Wisco.
Yeah.
He has run that race and done that race for the last 22 years. And he retired. This was his last race that he put together and everything. So they gave him a nice going away plaque and everything. And fortunately, it wasn't as cold this year as it was last year. I mean, it was just awful last year. But so then they did gravel at the gate. They changed that's the event that they changed the name of, and moved the date, moved the time, and I think that really hurt their participation this year. They went from almost 100 riders last year down to 25 this year. So they kind of need to, but you know, that's a gate city event, and they just kind of need to think about, you know, if you've branded something one thing and people realize that that's what it is, that's kind of, you know, once you start a brand, it's kind of hard to change it. But that's just my own personal opinion. Does not reflect the views of the Board of Supervisors or anybody else. I just thought I would say that. Okay, and then they did do a new event in downtown Gate City this year, which was an overwhelming success. They did this on Memorial Day weekend. They did their first inaugural Jeep Jamboree, and it was packed. The whole street was lined. It was, I think they were very, very well pleased with what happened with that event. They also, unfortunately, Nicholsville Days was going on at the same time. I did get out to Nicholsville Days and get to take photos and judge the dog show. I judged the dog show with Bill's wife, Luana, and but then apparently I was not, dang it, quick enough to get everything posted that day online and everything, and somebody was very, very extremely critical of the fact that I wasn't just Johnny on the spot and didn't have everything up there when I should have. So I apologize to that person, kind of. If you all, I'm sure everybody knows that Rita Forrester, who is the executive director of the Carter Home, won the most prestigious award ever this year. She received the Virginian of the Year award. And I can remember she called me and she said, this just doesn't sound right to me. She said, some man from Farquhar she said, I don't know how you say it. I said, I think it's Farquhar. And then somebody corrected me, and it's Bakir. She said, somebody's called me. She said, it must be a joke. She said, I've won some big prestigious award. And she's like, I don't want it. And she said, and I've got to go do this, and I've got to do that. And I'm like, what is it, Rita? And she said, I don't remember. She said, I don't know what it is. And so she goes, and she goes to, Richmond. And they give her this big presentation, and then you see the story in the paper, and I call her up, and I'm like, dang, you're the Virginian of the Year. I said, do you not realize what a big honor that is? And she goes, you all know Rita very well. She's so humble, and she's just kind of like, well, I don't know how. But so then those folks came down. I called them the Secret Society, but they work with the group they're out of Charlottesville, out of the Charlottesville Law School or something. And so they had a big dinner for her. Danny was there. She invited a lot of folks. She wanted to show them what true country cooking was all about, because
it was good.
Treated her so nice and everything. And so they presented that to her at the Fold, so that everybody, and Carson Peters played that night. So, it was a big deal. You might want to think about doing something. So, just a thought. I know since I'm being recorded, I didn't just say that.
They probably didn't hear it, but go ahead.
Okay. And then downtown Gate City had the Clinch Mountain Music Fest. That's something new that they did this year. So it was just a vendors festival. The lady that wrote the Virginia is for Adventurers, she did part of her scavenger hunt here in Scott County at Natural Tunnel. And she got some great publicity on that. And then, of course, we had the 4th of July parade. That was the first time that Gate City has done a 4th of July parade, and I saw some of y'all in the parade. But you know, I'm not real sure. I think the Gate City United Pentecostal Church, I think that they're the ones that sponsored this event for Gate City and the Gate City Frontier. But it was nice. And then, of course, Weber City did some 4th stuff. And Duncan had their 4th of July parade with those cute little girls. Do you know those little girls?
Yes.
Are they related to you?
No.
Oh, they were so cute.
Rue Dooley and Everly Dooley.
Rue?
Sisters. Rue is the little one in the blue dress.
Rue, that's such a cute name.
They are Dwight and Mildred Lane's grandchildren, great-grandchildren, actually.
They're adorable.
Amy and Michael Dooley's grandchildren.
Oh, okay. So, and then, so we've had some new businesses. I'm glad to say we did some ribbon cuttings at Boutique 276. And I've stopped in to see her a couple of times. And she said the business is going great for her. She's just as excited to death as she can possibly be. And we asked her where she got the name 276, and she was like, well, that's exchange year, 276. So I would have never thought about that. And then we went to the grain bin. And I know everybody, if you drive Wadlow Gap Road, you were wondering what in the world is going in there. What in the world is going in there? And she's got the cutest little shop in there. So if you haven't stopped, have you all gone back?
Oh, I have. Remember, you weren't here at the last board meeting, but we bought a quilt from there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So she has just some really interesting stuff.
She does.
Yeah. So as far as I can tell, things are back to normal. These are upcoming events. They are doing railroad days, July the 16th. I don't know if they'll have a train this year. Remember last year they didn't have a train, and so I've missed a couple of meetings, so I don't know what's been worked out. They're doing an entrepreneur workshop August the 4th at the Pioneer Center. Gate City Frontier is doing Back to School Bash. Carter Family Fold is doing Appalachian Rising August the 6th. Duffield Days is...
That's the wrong date.
That's right, I've written the wrong dates there. And how I got that, I don't know. That would be...
The 3rd's on Saturday.
The 3rd is it's the 2nd and 3rd, right? So
No,
it's
it would be
Friday and
Saturday. No, it's always Saturday through Monday.
Oh, okay.
Isn't the Papa Joe thing usually on Monday, Labor Day?
No, it's on
Sunday. So it'd be the 3rd and 4th.
3rd, okay.
Yeah.
So in downtown Gate City is doing their first praise concert, Rise Up and Praise worship concert with a gospel group called Unspoken. Papa Joe Smitty Festival is going on. We have our first meeting for that next week. Hunbo Farms is reopening. They will be open September the 1st through October the 31st. I have talked with him and he said, Joe, we can't wait to be back open. So IBMA, the International Bluegrass Music Association, is happening again September 28th through October 1st in Raleigh. We normally go to that, just may go again this year, I don't know. Lighting of the tunnel is going back on, and the Gate City Christmas parades are going on So, we are doing, I'm going to hand these out, on July the 28th, we're doing a venue meeting. I'm sending out my invitations out today. And I'm trying to invite all of the venues that have something to do with tourism, and I'll put something on Facebook too to tell them to come. And we're doing that at the Daniel Boone Wilderness Road Interpretive Center, 6 o'clock, and we're going to talk about, the kiosk, whether they think the kiosk will be beneficial for them, because there are things that you can add with the kiosk, such as, if they wanted to have coupons or things like that. But all of those extra things that you add on, they cost money. So we need to see, what, and even if they think a kiosk would be better, I don't know now what's the best thing to do with that money, since we couldn't do the visitor center. What their biggest concerns are and the ways that we can help them from a tourism perspective. I've seen the folks at Clinch River Life, they've been doing great. I see their little bus do their tournament. Even with that construction there at the bridge, you would think that would have really hampered them, because they have to do that little turn right there. They're still being able to make that, so it still seems to be okay. Free publicity right now, we're at 129,808. That's down from just a little bit from what it normally is. And then, so our social media, it just keeps going up. I continue to do the weekly emails, and one thing that has become interesting this year is that those weekly emails they gain in popularity, and we have like about a 20% open rate on those, which industry-wide is about 6%. So that's really a pretty good thing. And so, do you all have any questions? I'll let you pass those in case you need to remember what I said.
Any questions or comments for us?
Just a comment, I just don't give up on your passion of what you're trying to do, with something on this end of the county in terms of a visitation center.
Thank you. Well, one thing too, if we do a kiosk, you've got to have, it has to have Wi-Fi. So, you have to have Wi-Fi to operate it, and I don't know if there's Wi-Fi up there at that anyplace else, but maybe we'll work with Scott County Telephone Co-op to put Wi-Fi wherever they are, and if we do end up doing one, and get a Wi-Fi hotspot. So, does anybody?
Anything, Ms. Cox?
Oh, I have something. So, I'm going to stay for a little while. So, and if I'm going to stay for a little while, I've decided something. I've decided we all need to do something amazing. Let's do something amazing.
I'm glad you're staying. I'm just sorry we're not going to Australia. Was it Australia?
Well, we can still go. She's still going. She's still going, right. And my husband still ain't going, so I still need somebody to go with.
All right, sounds good. We'd have a blast.
Yeah. So let's do something amazing.
What did you have in mind?
I have something in mind.
I knew you do. That's why I'm going. So.
I have something in mind, and I'm not going to let it go.
All right.
I'm not going to let it go. You have a property sitting there, but there's not been anything done. Let's build something there. Let's build that agriculture center and that indoor-outdoor facility. And then, if we could get somebody that wanted to do a housing development in that area, they could do an equine community and have some trails and some things like that. And there is somebody that might be interested in doing that. Don't y'all want to do that?
Sounds very interesting.
Well, okay. Why can't we put, why can't we put it to a vote? See what the citizens want to do. Isn't there a thing called a referendum?
There's a little thing called money that we're gonna have to come up with.
Oh, no, I got that settled too. So
Okay.
you can take that jail and stuff, and the courthouse. This wasn't my idea. It was somebody else's idea. So you can move them in here, and you can move our offices to where the Teleteam building was. And then see, we're all over there together. And we're over there with the equine and the agriculture center and the indoor-outdoor center, and we'll all have a jolly good time. I guess you want me to sit down now, don't you?
I like
It was
it.
a-
You
it
know,
was a
I'm
good
a big
presentation.
supporter.
Thank you. What?
I'm a big supporter of you.
I know. Well, so you don't know until you try something. Right?
Absolutely.
A center like that would be ideal.
It would be ideal.
We are so close.
I've mentioned it a few times, and in the past, other boards have even done studies. I think I told you about Scott Gerald.
I've got the study.
You know, at the time, it was a lot of money, and I'm sure it's still a lot of money.
But we can get money.
But I mean, you know, the space, not just office space, but you could have like a small arena, you know, where you could have rodeos, agricultural shows, expos, farm expos. There's all concerts. You could have all kinds of things that would bring people in, and then, of course, to make sure, you know, they didn't spend their money here.
Right.
You know, that's how we pay for it. But and that's something I've sort of. You may have the numbers on this. I don't know. I may need to talk to somebody in EDA, or maybe we can find out. But how much money we think people are coming. You know, is there a way for us to look at people's receipts? And
yes, we can pay to have an economic development study done.
Yeah.
What's that group called? I don't know. It starts with the city, and I can't really think.
I'd like to know the numbers. I mean, that's what it all boils down to, is how much, you know.
Well, what do you call those? Feasibility study.
Yeah.
You just do, you know, have somebody do a feasibility study. You start there, and then if it's, you know. So I'll go now. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Pam, here's some extra if you want.
All right, we're down to item 17, comments, requests, recommendations. Mr. Jeter, you have anything?
Thank staff for all their hard work.
Mr. Tipton?
Yes, I think the good Lord, we had a Vanderbilt visit, and so we're waiting on the results probably today or tomorrow. I feel good about that, but we're able to be here, so I thank the board for all that you do, and I think the staff. I think we have a good board, and a lot of good, interesting ideas, and I believe everybody here wants to serve the people. We don't look at it as a district, we look at it as a county as a whole. That's how that it ought to be. And I want to thank Ms. Nelson and Mr. Osborne for coming today, and them sharing about the Convention of States issue. And if you haven't been hearing about that, you should. We should try to get on board with that if you're not. And was grateful to be out in the parades on the 4th of, well, I guess it was Saturday for the Gate City Parade, and then on the 4th of July for the Dungannon Parade, and to be a part of that, and to see the people coming out and finally getting back out into the communities and out in the open again. And so, again, appreciate the staff for all that you do. And you make us look good, so appreciate that.
Mr. Herron, have anything?
Appreciate what everybody's done. glad we've made it through another fiscal year, so hopefully this next one will be better.
Mr. Ricky?
I really have enjoyed all the presenters we've had today from the first to the last. I think it adds to our meetings a lot when we have people come in and express their opinions.
Okay.
And Pam gives you something to think about, doesn't she?
She wouldn't be Pam if she didn't give you something to think about.
It
She would
wouldn't
not
be
be Pam.
Pam.
Yeah,
But
she does.
she
She does
gives
good.
you a lot to think about, especially
blessed
that
to have
last
her.
thing she threw out there. So, I appreciate all of it.
All right. Miss Hood?
I don't have anything.
Miss Addington?
I do have something that I
Okay.
do want us to think about, consider, and I don't know what everyone else feels, but I will tell you, I want us to reconsider, consider, amend, do something to this food tax that we've imposed. The small businesses that we have put that on is just a handful. And it is a lot more than, it is a lot, in my opinion, it's more trouble for them than it's gonna be for us for it to be worth. The front porch in Fort Blackmore, I know, is affected by this. Midway Market's affected by this. The ones in Duffield are affected by this. And I understand that the McDonald's is the largest generator of those funds. But I think we need to really think about what we have done to those smaller businesses, because we have hurt that. We have, in my opinion. And I don't feel like I fully thought about that and considered that when I voted. So I do think we need, I mean, we've imposed another tax on them as a government entity. And I mean, I'm not, and I understand, I just don't think that, I don't think that it's going to be worth, I think we need to think about putting a amendment to it to have, when they exceed a certain amount, or, you know, let the smaller businesses that are doing this fall into this category maybe. I don't know, I mean, I want to talk to Sally about it. I messaged her. I just feel really strongly that we need to think about changing or editing that or amending that, because it is a lot of paperwork for those folks. And we have put an 11% tax increase, or we are collecting 11, they are 11% taxes on the front porch, Midway Market. Rally Mart. I think we need to think about that, because I, honest to goodness, don't think that and the more I thought about it, the more it's on my heart, and it's burdening my heart to say something about it, because I mean, I'll be honest, I don't feel like I fully thought about the implication of that before, because I don't think what we're going to gain from those smaller businesses is worth the trouble that it has cost for them.
Okay.
I can get you a report that shows what was collected. We received our
Perfect.
first payment in July, and I know that was close to $14,000. And I know Beverly at Front Porch still doesn't have her cash register where it can do all the tax buttons. Rally Mart, I talked to them. They didn't have any trouble with implementation. But I do know that we got almost $14,000
I'd
for
say
the
check of
first.
that was from McDonald's.
I'm not sure who it's from.
McDonald's.
That's the report I'd need to see.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too, if you don't care.
Can I back up and say something, or can we back up?
Sure.
I fully agree with you. There's some, you know, it's one thing about the paperwork. I'm sure there's a lot of paperwork, you know, that goes into all that. But you know, I've talked to a few of the smaller, like gas stations, you know, and they'll make biscuits and, you know, sandwiches and stuff like that. You know, one thing we might see is that they'll cease to do that.
Yes,
They
and that's what that's what's concerning.
We'll drive them from doing that. One of the gas stations I talked about, you know, that I talked to, you know, this is a bad time, you know, for all businesses. You know, with the pay scale and you know, the minimum wage, things like that. But I was talking to him, you know, the EPA, or not the EPA, it's the Virginia, I guess I don't know.
DEQ.
I guess that's who it was. But anyway, forced him to buy a $20,000 savings bond in case something happened. But if he would have a spill, that's the first thing they get. They get that to help cover the, you know, and we can go on and on about these little things. You know, we might not think that's a lot over a year's time, but that's a lot on a small business. Where they're struggling right now anyway.
Yes.
Time wise, I think it was a bad time to implement that. And I know we have to run the county. You know, that's I think we need to look more into it. Maybe if there's ways to adjust that. I don't know, but you know, I've had the same feelings.
Yeah.
Okay, heard from all of you, and I don't have anything to add. Had a good meeting, productive. Anyway, we will meet back here. What's the date in August?
We have to go into closed session.
You don't have anything closed session?
No, okay.
Not that I know.
August 3rd.
August 3rd, all right. So with that, we will meet back then. If nothing else, we will stand adjourned.